Masters, and a pretty blustery morning it is too here at the Woodland Hotel in Ellesmere Port. Welcome to the Premier League of Crown Green Bowls.
Now then, John Bancroft. Can he find an inch-perfect bowl and win this match? This could be the best Masters winner. It's looking good. It is good. He's done it. John Bancroft scores a tremendous triumph, and you can tell from his actions how delighted that young man is.
I've prepared the same way I did last year. I've tried to do everything I did last year. I've set my stall out for winning it. I can't do any more than that. You just got to try and do your best on the day and hope it works out for you. But I've prepared as well as I possibly can. I have prepared for it, especially again, so I just hope it has the same result.
Brian Duncan has never failed to qualify for the Bass Masters, his 11th consecutive appearance. As favourite, Duncan leads the field, a field of great quality. You know the faces by now. Each and every one of them a champion. You've got to be a part of it here. All eyes focused on the top prize in the game, £7,500 to the eventual winner. Men and women competing together, 32 of them in all.
All season long the question is asked, have you qualified for the Bass, are you in the Bass? And people are looking for it all the time. You know, every competition, when they select the competitions in the winter time to play throughout the summer, they're looking at the Bass qualifiers as the main objective. It's very important to everyone, yeah.
Well, if Crown Green Bowls was an Olympic sport, we've got the dream team right here this week. Well, let's have a look at the top half of the draw, if you like, and these are the games that we'll be concentrating on this morning. The ones involving Brian Duncan and John Bancroft, the only two double winners of the Bass Masters, and the enticing prospect, of course, that if they both get through this morning, they will actually meet in the second round. It could be the biggest game of the week, a potential final in the second round. Right, well, Roy Armstrong is with us once again. We're both a year older, Roy, and we probably look it. As far as Brian Duncan's concerned, he seems to be as good as ever. Amazingly, he's qualified 4 times for the Bass Masters. Some people go through a lifetime and never qualify once.
That's right, yes, I know that to my cost. But I think if Brian was honest, he would say to you that perhaps he isn't quite as consistent as he used to be, but of course he plays an awful lot of matches and he is still the man to beat.
Well, here he is, of course. Here's the action, the first game in our first session here at the Woodland Hotel. Brian Duncan against John Eckles, the Waterloo champion. And Brian 16-14 down at this point, Roy. After a terrible start, 8-2 down, wasn't it, at one point?
Yes, it's the usual thing, isn't it? You know, it's the battle to get to Ellesmere Port has been won. Now comes the battle of the nerves, and they all have nerves. And Brian started with some trepidation and went into his favourite 3/4 corner marks. But I think you'll find that now he's starting to come off those and he's looking to a shorter length.
Astonishing thing about Duncan, he's reached the final 3 times, which nobody else has ever done, and yet he's lost 6 times in the first round in his 10 previous appearances here, which is extraordinary, really, isn't it?
Yes, if you're going to topple Brian, that's the round to do it. In that first round, he's always a bit shaky in the first round, but once he gets that under his belt, then he starts to grow in confidence and starts to lead well and start to play as only he can.
Well, of course, this man's no mug. He's the Waterloo champion. He's giving Brian a real run for his money in this opening match. Commentary now, Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
John Eccles looks as though he wants to come into this same patch of land again here. No, this one is going more cornerish. Finger peg again. Up over the crown and down the other side where the bias starts to work. And it works very slightly against a bank that's there, or the bank works against the bowl, and straightened it up at the back end of its travel. Brian Duncan on that same canter. Pulled up short. Pat Heaney, who is the consultant for this green here at the Woodlands, was here very early this morning because there was 2 hours of torrential rain on the green, but certainly drainage is good here, Brian. There's no sign of any water hanging about.
None at all, and it's running well.
Well, it's too far a miss.
This needs a hit. Might just knock his own and promote it into it.
I think he's there.
It's in, John. I think.
It's in.
It's in.
Well, on such things the games change.
Yeah. All right, John. Duncan! One!
A little bit of fat for Brian Duncan. He stays alive. 2 chalks down at 15-17. Again, finger peg coming down from the top side of the jack. But no, there's a little bit of something there which straightened the bowl up at the end of its travel. It all looks so flat from up here, doesn't it, Brian? And yet when you get down at grass level,
yes,
it's a very different matter.
It's full of all sorts of mischief, this green. It is more consistent in its running because they worked on some of the areas that needed grassing better, and the players say they're pleased with it, which is unusual for players to say that until they lose, of course. Yes, John is just waiting here to be advised on what is against him.
No, John, you could be 2 down, but it's close for the second.
Positive advice from referee Terry Ashcroft, and John Eccles has taken it and decides to deliver one that there could be no argument about at all. Right on the button.
Eccles! 1!
18-15. John Eccles in front. Just looking back, this is the 24th end. Brian Duncan's had just little bits and pieces. 6, the best run he had. 3 singles, a double and a single. But all his other shots have come from ends that he's won and then promptly lost the block the next end.
Eccles is just moving the jack around a shade, just moving the land. One side of this corner, then the other side. Not letting Duncan settle into a rhythm. He daren't.
Well, there's still only 3 shots in it, so...
Yes. Anybody's game here.
Indeed.
But that's a big end, isn't it? If he can count this end,
yeah,
he's an end away.
Yeah. Just about counting 2, but there's plenty of space around the block for Duncan to come in and take it, which I think is exactly what he's done. Yes.
Excellent.
No messing.
Duncan! 1!
So, 16-18. Now, Brian, let's see if you've got
He's changing
something
things.
powerful in 3rd gear before going into overdrive. Well, this is certainly a mark that they haven't played in this game.
He hasn't pushed the jack as far as I thought he might, Hugh, to get into the far corner and cut across the green, but he's led reasonably well there.
The slope assisting the bias down. Thumb peg so that the bias gets some help from the slope, but no.
John likes this. It's the length. He might just pick the jack up.
It's where is it going to wind up? Because that's a yellow bowl at the back.
That's right.
And it's the yellow bowl that's counting. As John Eccles will find to his sorrow when he gets up there.
Right, John. Duncan! One!
Yes. Well, again, a little bit of fat.
Yes, I think
Brian
he's
Duncan.
had the bits and pieces, hasn't he, Brian Duncan?
Yes.
And it's kept him in the game. Interesting, he's not going completely towards that far corner. He has played this in the past over the 10, 11 years he's been in the tournament. It's got him out of a spot of trouble now and again. Can he do it this time? He's really up against it.
There's a tiny slope down there, and a little bit of a gully. If he can stay in it, he's right on the button.
Good ball.
That'll do for starters. Maybe a bit too much running in that one. Brian, I think that's almost the identical bowl to the first one. No, perhaps he missed the line the second time by about 6 inches.
Well, possibilities, Hugh. Just a run on the jack.
Yeah.
Well, he got 2 chances here. Either the jack or Brian Duncan's bowl.
No,
one or t'other.
It's going to run out.
Oh.
Oh, dear.
Well, it's 1 for certain. It's 2.
Duncan! 2!
Well, 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 well. 19-18 off the mat. Brian Duncan. And he was, what, 12-16 down? He was 2-9 down. 15-18 down just now. Scored 4 chokes on the trot. And he's now looking like a winner.
It goes back to the end, what, 2-3 ago, where he promoted his own bowl, didn't he, to get the jack back.
Yep.
And then 2 loose ends from Eccles. And the game changes.
John is looking a little bit rattled at the moment. That regularity of delivery, consistency that he showed in the early stages of this match has temporarily deserted him. Oh, Duncan is riding his luck. This should be an in that John Eccles should win.
Like this one, John, last ball.
A 2'6" bowl will win the end for John Eccles. It's a big bowl, a very, very big bowl. Now, yes, it stopped. Oh, that was important.
Eccles!
Just the one. 19 across. Well, well, well. Now, again, finger peg, following the block very nicely. That's a good lead. It's a hard bowl to beat. It's looking good if it stops. Yes. Masterclass.
Fancy Eccles might just have a nice sighter there, Hugh. Past his own short bowl, the back bowl of Duncan's gives him a nice line. If he gets there.
It hasn't got the legs, surely.
Still got to run.
Got to run a lot more.
No. Oh.
It give up, as they say.
Yes.
Well now, Brian, looking for some way of winning the match.
He's
got to
worried
be
about what he's got to turn that first ball over, isn't he, of Eccles?
He's got to be very careful there. It doesn't need much of a touch on either of those blue bowls, because the land slopes down towards the jack there. I wonder if he might turn his bowl over and come in on the other peg, or try to.
I think he might stick to what he knows, Hugh. If you've got a chance of going for game, you go for it.
Run a bit more, run a bit more, run a bit more. No.
Duncan! One.
So, Brian Duncan needing 1 to go into the second round. And this after he certainly looked dead and buried after 7 ends. And again after 25 ends. Or 24 ends, rather. Oh, that's a tidy lead. Well, he's set John Eccles a target. Thrown his hat in the ring and said, OK, beat that. It's trying. It really is. Oh, it's a beautiful ball. Now Duncan is in the position where he could lose the game. Oh, 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 oh! Now then, the blue bowl, I think, is still holding.
It is, absolutely.
And a game is there to be won by John Eccles.
Could just be favourite, but it's close.
I think Duncan knows, Hugh.
Yeah. I think Brian Duncan's reaction when he got down there was fair indication.
The body language told it all. Duncan absolutely dejected on the side of the green.
I would think that there's some more activity around the betting enclosure now. I wonder what they're calling on. Well, they're all sorting it out down there. Have they put their money down? Now, if John Eccles can thread his way through the gap left by the 2 short bowls, one of them his own, the other one Duncan's, and just winkle his way through onto the kitty, he's got a fair chance of getting 2. Oh, it's short. It's short. He left it on the mat. Now then, it's going to be a peg's job, I think.
I wonder whether Duncan's going to concede here.
Oh, he did.
That's sporting, isn't it?
Yes.
Eccles. 1.
Well, would you Adam and Eve it? John Eccles left the winning of the match on the mat. So as long as the jack stays on the green, during the progress of 4 more bowls, one of these 2 goes into the second round. And I don't know who I'd make favourite at the moment, Brian.
The man at the back normally in this situation, Hugh, is reckoned to have a chance of 3 and 5. Don't ask me how they know that, but that's what they say. I just feel Eccles' game has wobbled over the last 3 or 4 ends. The lead all important and is probably not quite what he wants.
Well, it's shades of his 25th end in the 83rd Waterloo handicap against Simon Coupe, where he was he was game against, and he pulled out the last bowl winner. He won't be able to pull out a last bowl winner this time. But he needs something awfully close here with this second wood.
That's right. As it stands now, he's lost.
Yeah.
Where's this going? They like it. They like it. It's not
staying out. It's staying out. The yellow bowl is counting. John Eccles goes down to have a look himself, picks his bowls up, and Brian Duncan has, well, I think it's fair to say he's scraped through a first round encounter. And does that mean, if history is to repeat itself, that Brian Duncan will go all the way to the final of this 11th Bass Masters, having won the first round match here against John Eccles, 21-20.
Well, as Hugh said, he scraped through there, statistically correct, but I think what we saw there, Roy, was the ultimate professional in action.
Yes, it's something that Brian's done many times before, but don't forget he's beaten a very formidable opponent there in John Eccles, because they've only played once before, which was last year in a final. Brian beat him in the final, but the local supporters were so impressed with John, they all went to the Waterloo at Blackpool and backed him, and of course he duly obliged.
You surprised me a little bit when you said that Brian's not as consistent as he was. You know, when I said to you, you know, he's qualified 4 times for this event. That seems a bit of a contradiction to me. I don't quite understand.
Well, yes, but Brian sets himself very high standards, and of course, in reality, he is a phenomenon. There's nobody else like him. I don't ever want to play him again.
He had, I mean, you had him dead to rights, didn't you, quite recently, and he came and pipped you, so...
Yes, that was in a qualifying competition for the Bassmasters at Bunbury Bowling Club in the heart of Cheshire, and I had him gone, on about 17-15 in front, but typically he dragged himself up off the floor and he just did me 21-19.
So you're taking it back, he's not past his sell-by date?
No, he's not.
Phenomenal thing is we've been doing this since 1982, Roy, and I think he's been favourite every single time, which again speaks volumes for his reputation and his skill down the years.
Yes, it's a testament to his ultimate ability. As I said before, I think he has a God-given gift. He's just a natural.
Okay, well he either wins this, gets to the final, or loses in the first round. He has lost once before in the second round a few years ago, but I think we can all possibly pack up and go home. The writing's on the wall. Duncan's in the final. Well, we'll see anyway. We're heading towards the news now. After that live, you'll be able to see Norman Fletcher against the reigning Bassmaster John Bancroft. Rob McCaffrey now reports.
The bustle of a wet Oldham market's a far cry from the emotion and excitement of victory in the Bassmasters. But this is where John Bancroft makes his living, in amongst his Stiltons and his Gorgonzolas.
Beach bowls, is it this? Not when it's raining, no.
But Bancroft's cut out for market life, easily switching his chirpy, bouncy personality to his other workplace, the bowling green, where he's equally successful.
I like to show emotion and get myself fired up. I can't play if I just plod around the green and try and stay cool. Some people can, some people can't, but that's me. If I try and just plod around and stay, you know, the Iceman, it's just not me, you know.
In quieter moments, Bancroft can reflect that no Bassmaster has retained his title, but then that's now becoming one of the oldest cliches in sport.
I know he hasn't defended successfully, but he's got a reputation for losing first game normally. I know when I first won it, 85 I think it was, or 86, I can't remember. I lost the first round the following year, so I hope I don't do the same this time.
Surprisingly enough, the biggest disappointment of Bancroft's sporting career came not in bowls, but in football, when his beloved Manchester United failed to win the league title last season.
I didn't speak for about 3 days. Jill was fed up on me. She said, "You never like this when you're losing a big tournament." She said, "You're never this sick." But it was a devastating. And to lose it to Liverpool on Merseyside like that was... all the way home on the coach from Merseyside, I was fighting back the tears, I must admit.
In a way, United's failure has stung Bancroft's own competitive nature. The man who currently holds the trophy has spent a year at his cheese stall, waiting, selling, but most definitely hoping he can do it all over again.
It's the one that all the top players think about all year long, to prepare for it, and without a shadow of a doubt, it's the one everyone wants to win.
Well, at the moment, John Bancroft on the right, Norman Fletcher on the left, preparing for their match. You'll be able to see it live after the news. Should be, could be, might be a cracker, Roy.
It'll be a tremendous battle, because it'll be the battle of the nerves that we've spoken about before. But, you know, there's one man this week who will have no nerves. That's Norman Fletcher.
OK, that's live after the news. Norman Fletcher against John Bancroft. Rejoin us here in Ellesmere Port. Welcome back to the 1992 Bassmasters. Big money at stake, the richest first prize in Crown Green Bowls. £7,500 to the eventual winner. It's Bancroft Fletcher live here this morning in our second session, and when there's big money at stake, Roy, historically that usually G's up the one and only Norman Fletcher.
Yes, Norman's had a little spell at the moment. He's perhaps resting between engagements. He's not working at the moment, living in Blackpool. Hopefully he can rekindle some of his former glory.
Used to be known really as the Alex Higgins of the game, a bit of a troubleshooter. He is firing already. He's been out there 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's got a very simple maxim, Norman. If they get them too near, knock them off. And it's a very predictable game with Norman. You know that John Bancroft is liable to play short, and when he gets the jack, Norman will go as far as he can. I think he's got a bit of a patch on his trousers this morning. He's been up all night praying for rain.
But a great character, that's what we all like about Norman. A great crowd pleaser. They love him round the green, don't they? Because he always gives them a run for the money, and if he's in trouble, as you rightly say, he sort of whacks them off.
Yeah, he's very, very tenacious. He's lost a little bit of the hunger to win. If he could just get that back, he could really be right up there, you know. And he's been playing quite a bit. And I know I was talking to Brian Duncan this morning. He fancies him quietly to win this match.
Against John Bancroft, one of 2 double winners of the Bassmasters. Duncan, of course, the other one. How difficult is it to retain a major title such as this?
It is difficult. I think what you've got to do, you've got to get it in your mind that this is your green, you are the champion, and no one is going to take that away from you. John is very much a mood player, and his form is usually peaks and troughs. This year it's been very steady without being spectacular, but he'll be very, very determined to hold on to that title.
Is he the heir apparent to Brian Duncan? In a few years' time, will he be the number 1? Will he be looked upon in the way that Duncan is now?
He could be. He's certainly got the all-round game. He's got the ability to play long and short, and he's won so many titles. It remains to be seen whether he can do it over a period of years and achieve that magic word consistency.
Well, that's certainly a word that we associate with Brian Duncan, consistency. Will John Bancroft be the number 1 for many years once Brian has relinquished that title? It's 1-1 at the moment between Bancroft and Fletcher. It should be the game of the day. In fact, Bancroft has just picked up a 2 to take a 3-1 lead. Roy's going to make his way to the commentary box to join Hugh Johns.
Thank you, Elton. And that was a disastrous end for our good friend Norman Fletcher. He had the block. He put that in the ditch. John Bancroft set the mark, and storming Norman promptly put his 2 bowls in the ditch, leaving just the 2 blue bowls on the green, counting 2 to John Bancroft. A few clouds darkening the sky over this lovely green at the Woodlands Hotel, Whitby, near Elmsmere Port. But it's warm, and there's still plenty of seats here for local spectators who want to come in.
18-inch pass,
That was a good,
and he's 6 inches past.
good bowl then from Norman Fletcher. Banjo with some work to do with this bowl. He's after it, and he's almost trying to blow it in.
Only got to turn it, Norman. Knocking it in.
Fletcher holding. Wants to stay well away from that blue ball. Trying to creep round. Run a bit more, run a bit more. No, it stopped. So 1 for Norman Fletcher. 2-3, Norman Fletcher. He's got the block back in his hand. And he's making quite sure it doesn't go into the ditch this time. Well, Roy, this is a very short mark that Norman set.
Yes, as you said, Hugh, he's apprehensive about placing the jack too near to the edge of the green, and he's gone about 5 foot past. Obviously, if he gets in here, he's in position to go in the other corners, when I think you'll find he'll send the jack a bit further.
Well, Banjo has beaten the yellow bowl, but it's about to change.
Helen?
Oh,
Yeah.
Banjo's never going to come back from there, surely. No way.
Fletcher! 1.
The voice then of Terry Ashcroft, who has joined the officials team here at the Woodlands for the Bassmasters in the enforced absence of our dear friend Frank Kitchen. Many people around this green, Frank, are wishing you Speedy recovery over in the Whiston Hospital. Every one of us sends you our best regards. In the meantime, Terry Ashcroft doing a fair job out in the middle. Norman didn't send that quite as far as I think you would have anticipated, Roy, but if he stops, he's on for 2. Oh, yes.
2 very brilliant bowls there from Norman, and I know that the green is to his liking. It's quite lush this time. It's nice and green. All the high spots are covered with grass, and in Norman's words, it's just a nice send.
Well, it's some 9 years since Norman set the Crown Greens up north here alight, winning so many things. Crikey. Lancashire Merit, Greenhorse County Classic, that was another Granada television production. Reached the semi-finals of the Champion of Champions, won about another 8 titles. That was his best season ever. And it would do him
Fletcher,
very good if he can do something dramatic here in this tournament. That's 2 more for Norman Fletcher. 5-3 his lead. This is the 3rd time that Norman has been in the Bassmasters. 1983 he reached the semi-final, got beaten by Len Higginbottom, the man who beat him in that marvellous Crown Challenge final at the Wharton Green in Blackpool, not far from where Norman is now living. And in 84 he went out in the first round to Peter Tilley, but that was a tight one. That was 20-21. And as you were saying to Elton earlier, it's always great fun when we see Norman Fletcher back in action, isn't it?
Yes, he's always good value, and John Bancroft here has turned his ball over. He's come the other peg. Norman sent the jack out thumb peg, and John's come the other way because he thought Norman's ball was in the way. John's come finger peg, counting the end, just about a yard past.
Well, that little wick off his own short bowl took some of the running of Norman's second, but they're still a long, long way away from the target, all 3 bowls. And see if Banjo, John Bancroft, has got it with this one. Yes, that's the winner.
Bancroft, 1.
Banjo not going for the corner. It's halved the green and delivers a very, very positive first bowl. Oh, that's not a bad one from... Oh, Norman needed just the tiniest little bit of turn on that bowl. A little bit of bend, a little bit of pegging at the end of it. Paired up with his first one, but that's a fair target. Norman, if you can't beat him, knock him off. He's hit something. Just one of the blue bowls. So it's a single for John Bancroft.
Bancroft, 1.
Remember Norman in the Super Bowl days, when he produced this sort of thing on the flat green, with the attitude of mind that it didn't matter about tactics and careful planning or anything. Somebody is holding the shot, whack it off.
Yes, I know he thought it was much simpler on the flat green, because on the flat surface, no humps and hollows to take away the running of the bowl.
John Bancroft short with that one. John qualifying, of course, as the defending champion. He's won 2 or 3 useful tournaments this season. The Atlas Steel Classic, which was another Bassmasters qualification tournament, being one of them. Beat Phil Owen in that one at Oldham.
I think you're 2 down, Norman.
Go on, run a little bit more. Run a bit more. That'll do. Well done, Norman.
Go.
So 6-5. It's a seesaw sort of a match. Level at 1s, level at 3s, level at 5s. Very nice. And you can see the sort of audience that we have here at the Woodlands Hotel. But there's still a fair bit of room around the edges of the green. Still room for you to come down on what is a very pleasant day here at Ellesmere Port.
Not so near, Norman. Only one, John.
That area of the behind John Bancroft, the brand new restaurant and the bookmakers boards. You could have got a reasonable price on John this morning too, Roy.
Yes, John was 10-1 for the tournament, whereas Norman was 14-1, so still a little bit of respect for Norman as well, but they were betting 5-4 against him on the heat.
Well,
have they changed very much, Roy?
No, not very much at all. I think it's too early in the game. I think if it was a 15-17 it would be a change, but very little change at this moment.
I think Norman's been doing a little practicing on this green, Roy.
Yes, he was here yesterday with his old pal and pairs partner Brian Duncan. They had about 2 hours yesterday, and I think they were here on Monday as well. He's playing with his favourite bowls, his £2 12.5 Lignum Vita bowls. He's had these for about 14 years, and he actually swapped Brian Duncan. These were Brian Duncan's bowls, and Norman swapped him for a pair of his.
Well, he's got his mojo working with those two. How about that? John Bancroft with a lot to do. Of course, the pressure on John is really remarkable with a championship title to defend. Terry Ashcroft gets into the slips behind the block as the flyer comes in, and away she goes. Where's the block? In the ditch. Dead end. Good strike. That was a smoothly delivered bowl with the punching force to disrupt everything. So Norman sets another mark and playing the diagonal. The running may be a little bit different in this corner because a couple of trees casting their shadow over the green. We had 2 hours rain early this morning, and most of the green has dried out very well in this hot sunshine, but that area down there may be just a little bit slower because of the shade cast by these trees.
Norman
almost got the length with his first bowl and has fallen short with his second. This should be an easy end for John Bancroft to win, as long as he doesn't leave it short. Doesn't seem to have so much running on it. No, it stayed out. Oh, gosh, it's 2. I do believe that Norman Fletcher has got 2 out of what I can only describe as a very, very scrappy end.
2.
Yes. So Norman goes into a 9-5 lead. The thoughtful faces around the green, wondering what went wrong there with Banjo. What did go wrong, Ron?
Norman couldn't believe it. He thought those bowls were too far off. They were about 6.5 feet off, and John really would be very disappointed with that. He should have got one somewhere near, and certainly beaten Norman's nearest ball. And here's Norman again. He's coming about 45 yards, coming finger peg, and quite a good ball, just a little less than a yard off.
It's length that Banjo is struggling to find. I think he's in with that one.
That's funny.
Norman needing to take, what, about 18 inches of running off his first bowl. Hasn't done so. So Banjo is holding a single. And if he can get one 18 inches off, he will close the gap considerably. A little bit of afterburn now down the hill. Stop. I think it might be there.
It looks like it to me, John, but I'm going to give it 2, Norman. Bancroft, 2.
Yes, it is 2. So 7-9, a gap of 2. John taking a lot of time deciding where he is going to put this block. That's pegging well. Maybe too much. The finish there was a dramatic left turn.
Look, Norman.
There must be a little hump down there, Roy, because that's a dramatic left turn from both those bowls, both Banjo's and Fletcher's.
Yes, to be honest to you, yesterday I was on the green for about an hour, and I was quite surprised how much peg there was at this particular part of the green. And John's cleverly used the jack because towards that stand it is just that little bit slower. And I know that John believes that this green suits a short game.
Oh, it's too far, John. Oh, no, it's not. It's not. He's played one.
Yes, he's played it well. It's well played. Beautifully played. So Norman pulls one back. He is now 10-7. And we shall still be in action here when you return to us with more exciting game here. Well, you haven't really missed a great deal. John Bancroft has scored, and it's 8 to John, 11 to Norman Fletcher. Norman is holding 1 with his first bowl, and John Bancroft is in a whole lot of bother. He set the mark himself along the side of the green, but did not find it at all. Norman, on the other hand, is creeping in. I think he's got another 2 there.
Fletcher,
oh, yes. 13-8, Norman Fletcher. Well, well, well. And the defending champion, John Bancroft, having a difficult time. Norman Fletcher has done well on this sort of a mark. This block a little bit further than before. Didn't have quite enough on that. Finger peg. They pull up a little in front of the jack, but they'll run away quite strongly if they go past. It's a better one from John Bancroft. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's gone. It's in the ditch. Now, John, just a short yellow ball to beat to get 2. Run a bit more. That's far enough.
Bankcroft, 2.
Yes. Now then, let's see what John Bancroft can do. He's got the block back in his hand. He's got 10. Noel Fletcher's got 11. Now, can he start to put a real run together? John has not scored on 3 consecutive ends, and only once has he scored on 2 consecutive ends. Both singles. It's not a bad lead. It's turned away at the back end of its travel. And the yellow bow's gone to join it, but it's finished closer to the target. It's a bird's eye view of Banjo Bancroft's second bowl. Where's it going? It's pulled up and is winning. Gosh, all 3 of those bowls, you could throw a handkerchief over them. Norman Fletcher looking for the same line again. Whoa now. Whoa, 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 whoa. That'll do. That'll do. That's 1.
Fletcher, 12.
So 12-10. And yet another defending champion, in the case of John Bancroft, in trouble. 10 previous basses and 6 previous winners have gone out in the first round, including John Bancroft himself, having won it against Joe Bradbury in 1986, went out to Brian Patmore 18-21 in the very next round. So those sort of thoughts will be going through Bancroft's mind at this moment as the pressure builds on him. Same sort of pressures, I think, that he had against Stan Frith in the semi-final last year, Roy.
Oh yes, that was an epic battle, wasn't it? And it went right down to the wire. And but I was talking to Norman yesterday, asking him what he thought his chances would be, and he was quite simple about it. He just said, if I can lead, I'll win. If I don't lead, I'll get licked.
Well, his lead bowl is counting here. His second bowl is doing nothing at all. Well, when it's not going for you, it's not going for you.
2.
That's 2 to Norman Fletcher. And 14-10, he now leads. Norman is on the way home. 16-10, sorry.
And I think you'll find that Norman will step it up now. He'll try and put more pressure on John. He's been very determined this morning, chasing after his bowls, and I think you'll find he'll continue to do that.
John chasing after that one. He wants to see it arrive. Well, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but referee Terry Ashcroft fancies the yellow bowl.
Norman's changed his peg now, Hugh. Gone thumb peg to try and pass the short bowl and get another one. Needs to run a bit further.
Just pulled up short.
Not at this stage, anyway. Yeah. Don't like it.
Come on, Banjo. No, it stayed out. It's never coming back from there.
Fletcher! One!
Well, it's beginning to look as though another champion is going to bite the dust. Storm in Norman Fletcher. 17-10 in front. Beginning to think that it's all downhill from here. Distance fairly deep into the corner. Oh yes, that's a good lead. Beautiful lead from that distance. Well over 40 yards, probably around about 45 yards across the diagonal. Needed to hit.
And that's now a bad bowl, Hugh, because it's gone 6 feet past. Gives Norman a good chance of 2.
He's in for 2. Well, I reckon those are 2 cracking bowls to put pressure on defending champion John Bancroft. He wants to hit something. It's trying for him. It's trying desperately hard. That's missed. And it's gone out a long way. It's 2. 19-10. Norman Fletcher leading John Bancroft. John Bancroft now with memories in 1987 when he went through as champion in 86, beating Robert Hitchin, Ken Strutt, Vernon Lee, and then Joe Bradbury. And then in 1987 came back to defend, went out in the first round. And funnily enough, went out in the first round in 88 and 90 before winning it last year.
Feet, John, that.
Now they begin to pull up around about here. And that one has pulled up. Now you can see the crown as you look at that shot there. The way the bowl creeps along, comes up over the middle. Now it's disappeared from view. We'll see it come up over the crown. Now, is it going to peg in? Run a bit more. No, it's pulled up short. It's an uphill finish on this one, Roy, isn't it?
Yes, they've got to get over the 2 crowns and into the lush part of the green. John looks as though he's a winner if he can get past.
Now, where's it stopped? Is it in or out?
One, John.
I think it's
Bancroft,
in.
one.
Yes, it is. 11-19. John Bancroft, only once in this entire match so far, a match of 23 ends, has scored on 2 consecutive ends. That was as far back as the 7th and 8th ends. And if ever he needed to get a little run going, this is the moment.
And John's aborted his plan, Hugh, of the short game. He's going about 3/4 distance, about 45 yards here. I think he thinks that if he gets Norman on these short lengths, Norman will knock him off. So he's going for a bit of distance, but he's 5 feet off.
Well, it's caught Norman out. He's nowhere near with his first. Now, what about the finish? Looks good. That'll do. Norman on almost the identical line of John Bancroft. Not quite, perhaps. Oh, yes. What a ball. What a ball. And John Bancroft's face is a picture study of what happened. What happened? He doesn't believe it. Well, well, well. So it's Norman Fletcher, all but 11. And I really do feel that Banjo has busted a string here this morning. Norman Fletcher needing just 1 for game. That's not a bad lead when you just want 1 for the match. Short. And John Bancroft's first bowl is pulled up bang in the road. Fletcher won't mind that. Oh! I tell you what, that is the end of the ball game. There is no way that Bancroft can do anything about this. His short bowl will stop him striking at it. Wanted a wick. Well, it's 2, but he only wanted 1. Norman Fletcher marks his return to the Bassmasters after an absence of, what, 8 years, with a dramatic win over defending champion John Bancroft, who retires to the clubhouse to look back on a game that he was totally destroyed. 21-11 to Norman Fletcher. That really was a brilliant performance.
Well, what a difficult championship this is to defend. John Bancroft proving that. The reigning Bassmaster going out in the first round. Norman Fletcher through to the second, where he will meet the favourite Brian Duncan, who we saw go through a little earlier on. Well, the first match here on day 1 of the 1992 Bassmasters featured the first of the ladies, Joyce Foxcroft, the ladies Waterloo champion, against Rowley Pratt from the Midlands. As we join it, Joyce is well in front.
They dearly love 2. She's not waiting to find out how many against her at the moment. She's bowling. Her line is different. Oh yes. Now then. She's done it. 1.
Foxcroft.
Oh, what a beautiful bowl. 1. She's 1 away from a famous victory. What a start for the ladies this is. All but 6 against Rowley Pratt. Vast outsider for the tournament when play started, Joyce. 200 to 1 they were offering, Rowley Pratt 50 to 1. Again, Roy, as we indicated earlier, this is a new mark, isn't it? She's not tried this one.
Yes, once again she's playing her thumb peg, which is against her hand, but she's obviously perfected this style. Only about 27 yards, If she gets a good one here, it's goodbye Rowley.
Yes, she's just a couple of feet short of perfection. Now Pratt has got to push the bowl out further. These are the stronger bowls. Just about length now. The line is good. Well, has it won? I doubt it. I doubt it. She'll want to know. She needs one for game. She'll wait and wait for the referee, Mary Ashcroft, just to have a look at these two bowls. The back bowl...
Nothing in these, Joy.
The back bowl is the yellow disc of Pratt. Well, so she knows. She's got to make sure. I mean, if they don't know, that's fair enough. That's good advice. You sort it out for yourselves. Is she? She's further. This looks all right. This looks all right. It ran on. It ran on. That's changed nothing. It may be down to a measure unless Rowley Pratt can produce a winner here.
Just a sneaking fancy for yours.
Stronger bowls. It's stuck out a bit now. It's turning and bending and running. This will sort it out. That's the winner. Good bowl. Good pressure bowl.
Have a little loop. This, you know, it's...
Maybe a measure for the second. Take that out. Certainly one to Rowley. She fancies her own. Not bad tact to Roy to ask for a measure at this stage, is it?
Oh yeah, she's got all the time in the world now. She just wants one for game. Slow Rowley down a bit. Make sure he doesn't get into a stride. He's not got in any kind of a stride really this morning, but I really feel sure that he's got to go in the corners, because the short marks he's playing, unless he plays one about a foot off, Joyce is liable to beat it.
Well, I think she may well fancy going in the corners, because she is a good corner bowler. So she'll wait for the measure. This is for the second ball. On the left, Frank Lomas, still the Cheshire Bowling Association president, and Will Folk, local man, just turning round. Measuring the blue bowl second, and the blue bowl, it would appear, has got it, so it's just the one to Rowley Pratt. Off the mat, 7:20, and he's trying for the corner. It's a gamble now, Roy, isn't it? Because one mistake and this lady is going to tie this game up.
Yes, it's the correct thing to do. Rowley's playing finger peg, and he's playing about 35 yards, but watching him this morning, I've noticed that he bumps his bowls. Every ball that he sends, he bumps it. And that's a sign that as we get a bit older, you know, he doesn't quite get down as far, and the result is you usually play short like that.
Well, his 53-year-old haulage contractor, she's got a better road. There's a little bank there, it might run off, not far enough. All right, well, this really is to stay in the game. He's got a yard and a half room to manoeuvre in. He's narrowed his line. He's further with the bowl. It'll run past the jack. How far is it going to run? How far? How far? Oh, he's got it just. No, she's not. She's got it. The blue. What a win. She doesn't need a bowl as the second bowl. She's won it. She's delighted. He can't believe it. What a win. The face of a winner, and a shock winner at that. Tremendous result for the ladies. They start. Joyce Foxcroft in blue, 21. Rowley Pratt stunned in yellow, 7. 21-7. Joyce wins.
The margin of victory, the most surprising aspect of that particular match. Mark Britton 21-8 against John Gurney. John Eccles losing to Brian Duncan in the tightest of this morning's games. And Norman Fletcher beating the reigning champion John Bancroft comprehensively 21-11. Well, the Bassmasters wouldn't be complete without our resident headmistress who keeps us all in check, Mary Ashcroft. A terrific start for the ladies. Joyce played tremendously well, Mary.
She did. She played absolutely brilliant. She won the jack, and she started, I mean, they just had one loose end at the beginning, and then from then she just went from strength to strength.
But it was the margin of victory, which I said before, which was amazing. Probably the greatest margin that we've seen a lady beating man in one of these
Best
majors.
Winner? I would think so.
Well, we've also got with us Norman Fletcher, who hasn't been at the Bassmasters for 4 years, Norman. You've knocked out the reigning champion, a terrific performance. It must be good to be back as far as you're concerned.
Well, I've not been playing as much last 2 or 3 years, so I've just come back good today and all worked out right.
What about your assessment of the green?
Beautiful. A lot faster than it's been all week. Practicing like it's about 10 yards faster today.
Roy Armstrong just questioned whether you had your hunger back to win the big ones again.
Well, I think I've retired now, so I'm starting bowling again.
What about the prospect of playing the ladies? How do the guys feel about it?
Well, it's just like playing anybody else, I think, you know. It's not to just get on with your bowling, really, you know, and don't worry about it. But playing a lady, it's a bit different, isn't it? So, I don't know. I've never played a woman, really, so I don't know.
It's a pleasure to come.
In truth, Mary, they don't like it too much, do they?
No,
they're on
they
a hiding
don't.
to nothing.
No, they don't, but they're learning to accept it, and they're learning to accept the fact that the ladies can play. Because always before, I mean, I think that was Rolly Pratt's undoing the very first time he got the block. He went straight for the corners, and they all think ladies can't play corners, but they can.
Well,
and she beat him. She scored from there and just gained.
Well, Norman's got Brian Duncan in the next round. Who knows,
That's
after that
right.
it could be one of the ladies. Well done, Norman. Thanks,
Thank you.
Mary. It certainly has been a terrific start here at the Bassmasters, especially for the ladies and Joyce Foxcroft. A marvellous 91 for the ladies as well. Remember all this.
Curl a bit more, run a bit more, run a bit more. Yes! She's done it! Absolutely superb. Maureen Bresnan makes history.
And what a good bowl to finish on.
She leads at the moment, 2014. She needs this one. Rothall knows it. She's only done it. She's done it.
Jones won.
Wow! The handshake. History. Where's this going? They like it. They like it. It's not
Staying out, it's staying out. The yellow bowl is counting. John Eccles goes down to have a look himself, picks his bowls up, and Brian Duncan has, well, I think it's fair to say he's scraped through. John Bancroft's first bowl is pulled up bang in the road. Fletcher won't mind that. Oh! I tell you what, that is the end of the ball game. There is no way that Bancroft can do anything about this. His short bowl will stop him striking at it. Wanted a wick. Well, it's two, but he only wanted one. Norman Fletcher marks his return to the Bassmasters with a dramatic win.
Well, this really is to stay in the game. He's got a yard and a half room to manoeuvre in. He's narrowed his line. He's further with the bowl. It'll run past the jack. How far is it going to run? How far? How far? Oh, he's got it just. No, she's not. She's got it. The blue. What a win. She doesn't need a bowl as the second bowl. She's won it. She's delighted. He can't believe it. What a win. The face of a winner.
Well, all that happened a little earlier on. An extraordinary, exhilarating morning session here on day one of the 1992 Bassmasters. Well, this third session opens up with a live match, but before that, let's just check the order of play, starting with the result. Bob Hitchin beating Barry Kirk 21-11. Bob's first win here at the Woodland Hotel at the 5th time of asking, and he'll play either John Howard or Alan Thompson in the next round. Alan Thompson, his mate, his pairs partner, they travel everywhere together, two Yorkshiremen. And Ron Stanford against Simon Coupe. Now that's the game taking place here at the moment. Live play, and the scoreboard tells it all. It's 13-10 to Simon Coupe, one of the finest young players in the game today. Roy Armstrong was telling me earlier that at 22 years of age, just about the best of the young generation on this increasingly popular game of Crown Green Bowls. His debut in the Bassmasters. In a good position, he's picked up another chalk or two as we join Hugh Johns to fill us in on precisely what's been happening in this match so far.
Thank you, Elton. 14-10, Simon Coupe against Ron Stanford. The youthful exuberance of the 22-year-old, the junior Waterloo winner when he was just 17 years old, against the experience and age of Ron Stanford, now 63 years old, from the Sale Excelsior Club, that very famous Crown club. But he's found it difficult to get a regularity of line and length. He knows the green. He played here last year when he won his first two rounds against Mark Richardson and Richard Britton before going out in the quarter-final to John Bancroft, the eventual winner. But he's not finding a regularity of performance, would you say, Brian?
I don't think Ron is quite settled. He has trailed most of the way. He was 5-2 down, and then he narrowed that to 11-8. But at 14-10, he's produced the occasional bowl, but he's not... Well, he's coupled up on occasions, has he, just once. So we might have a little bit of weight here.
Got your camera low.
Bounced that away, and it sailed through.
Count. 2.
Two more for Simon. 16-10 his lead. That's a nice solid cushion of chalks on the board. Lancashire County bowler from a very, very strong bowling family. His father Jeff, mother Barbara are top-class Crown bowlers, and it was natural that they set him on the road to glory when he was just 8 years old. Glory that won him the junior Waterloo against Tommy King back in '87, then runner-up in last year's Waterloo to John Eccles. And semi-final in the Talbot too. So this is a young man with pedigree already, and I believe so much more to come at the tender age of 22. And if he leads like that, I mean, that is a beautiful lead bowl. And Ron is just what a pity he didn't get a full contact on the block. The yellow block, of course, the yellow now becoming a regularity in Crown. New composition, it doesn't splinter as much as the old white jacks did. And with some of the characters in this game who give the block a fair old hammering from time to time, you need something that'll stand up to it.
No, well, Meg. Yeah, did its job.
So, 1.
Go! 1.
$17-10 for Simon Coupe.
Playing a very studious game for a young man is Simon. He's moved around the green. He's scarcely settled on a mark. It's good tactics because Ron is well experienced. He will read it if he gets a chance to settle for any length of time. Simon's mum actually was on the reserve list for the tournament, Hugh. Didn't quite make it, but that's a quality.
Simon himself qualifying by winning the Tetley Classic. in Preston, not far away from where he lives. Beat Barry Kitson out there.
Who was the previous holder. He was the reigning champion.
Oh, unlucky. He needed to go around it. He promoted the blue bowl. So Ron is in for a single, certainly. What's more important is he's got the advantage of knowing that he's going to get the block back in his hand. Gorgeous sunny day here at the
Stanford.
Woodlands Hotel.
1.
Just down the road from Ellesmere Port at Whitby. And a good crowd enjoying the sunshine. And a regular feast of bowling, which of course has been a feature of the Bass Masters tournament since it was first instituted back in, what, 82.
82, and has grown from 16 champions in those days to now 32, with 3 ladies in, and the ladies pushing for a greater representation after their success in recent years.
That block about 18 inches from the ditch, a very, very dangerous place. Anything that gets up with a bit of running in it will wind up in the ditch. And here's our old friend again. His garden backs onto this lovely green, and he's a regular feature of our programming. He comes down to the bottom of his garden and leans over the fence every year. Got his own personal grandstand view. Oh, what a good bowl, Ron. Whoa! Ah! I thought he was going to hit the block and stay on.
Well, he's nearest the jack, but he's off the green. That's the problem.
Steady, 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 steady.
Another good pattern.
Stanford. 1.
So it's 12-17 off the mat for Ron Stanford, the retired milkman, and a chap who used to play a fair bit of football in his early days. Very proud of a young grandson, David, who now something of a bowler and was a prominent member of the Manchester Grammar School side, soccer side. Oh, good lead, Ron. Good lead. Now, let's see that one. Well, the spectators around the green were saying he's won it with that, but no way. Now, let's wait for the ball to come up over the crowd. Where is it? Here she comes. It's got to peg a lot from there. Come on. A little bit more. Pulled up short, but the seagull's eye view, you can see it clearly. It looks like 2 for blue, unless Simon can do something here. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, save one for Sid.
Stanford. 1.
That's a nice little canter for Ron Stanford. Brian, I think this is the first time he's got 3 in a row.
3 successive singles. This is the big end now, isn't it, from 13-17. And Ron settling into a mark, again, much beyond the jack, is off the green.
He's to find now some of the fire and form that won him British Parks merit a couple of times, and the All England in, what was it, 1988.
Yes.
Repeat that sort of form, he can claw his way back and make up the 4 shots difference that he's got.
Well, when he won the All England, in fact, Huey came in as a substitute for Roy Thompson. Went on and won it.
That's true, yes, I'd forgotten that. Beat Keith Walton of Shropshire.
Yes. Roy and Ron are both members of the Sale Excelsior Club and are in the team that plays in the Brunner Cup final on August 15.
Just needed another roll, that did. That's a yard short, that one.
So Simon is holding one. And looks as though he might have the two. Indeed he has.
Go! 2.
Simon Coupe halting that short gallop of Ron Stanford. And now needing to count 2 on this end. And he's into the second round.
Yes, that's why it was the big end, Hugh. If Ron had got in there, the character of the game would have changed. But you must now fancy the younger man. He's looking in fair fettle. So Ron Stanford got him almost 2 yards to work in, right up to the players' hut. Be a good, appropriate spot to win the game, straight off and into the hut. Ron improves.
Well, it's fairly certain that Simon Coupe will not win the match on this end. In fact, with that bowl... Oh, he just crept past. Well.
It's difficult to guess at these on the same hand, Hugh, because there are 2 bowls certainly in his way.
He might just as well try and promote his own short bowl.
Doesn't want to promote anybody else's.
Well, if he promotes the shot bowl, it won't matter. He's 1 down anyway.
Well, he's turned over. He's tried the other hand.
It's far enough, but...
Oh, he stopped on.
I think it's fallen out.
I do, yeah.
I think Mary Ashcroft, the referee, is suggesting a measure.
Measures, please.
Yes.
So it's all down to Will Folk and Roy Lomax.
Yes. Frank Lomax from Stockport, Cheshire President.
It's deceptive, the angles that we get with the television camera at times.
Goal first.
Well, they measured the blue first.
It's deceptive, wasn't it? Goal!
Yes.
Yes. Coups get the 1. 20-13, Simon Coupe. And it's beginning to look a little bit black now for Ron Stanford.
He was one of the last to qualify, of course. It was only last weekend as he won the Lees Classic over at Springbank, Chatterton, beating Glynn Cookson in the final. So he's been trying all season and finally made it.
Bowler of some 41 years experience. But it is the youthful drive of 22-year-old Simon Coupe. Comes from Houghton, near Preston. Oh dear. He hasn't put a lot of pressure on Ron Stanford here.
No, he picked out a difficult area to try and win it.
Holding the shot bowl at the moment. And...
Hey.
Oh. Well, with that promotion, that definitely makes it. Simon Coupe puts out Ron Stanford. The back end of it, it was pretty much one way. 21 to Simon Coupe. Ron Stanford, 13. We're going to take a break now. More action when you come back.
Welcome back. So the youngest player in the tournament, Simon Coupe, is through to the second round. Good performance, comfortable victory near the end of that match. Running out a pretty clear winner, big smile on his face. Well done to young Simon. We'll be talking to Roy about him a little later on. A very exciting prospect indeed. Well, now to one of the old stages, if you like, a formidable player, Alan Thompson of Yorkshire against John Howard. Now, as we join it, Thompson is quite comfortably in the lead, and the commentators are Roy Armson and Brian Brett.
Another couple of rolls, he might just have done that. Now then, John Howard. He also follows the Thompson line, and the running looks a little bit better, but he's now pegging away. Can't get there, can't get there. Nope. Tough.
He pegged in a bit.
Just the single.
Yeah.
Alan Thompson.
Johnson, 1.
Well, 25 ends gone. Alan Thompson's been made to work. He's in a good position. He's 20-17 ahead. We're now, well, just turned 40 minutes since play started, into the 26th end. And this, Roy, I would think is about the longest mark we've seen so far in the tournament.
Yes, this is about 53 yards, all finger peg, all uphill to this position, but it's a very good tactic, you know, when you want one for game. If you get one within a yard in this corner, it's a really good bowl. And he's got one much closer.
You won't want that back. It did run on a little bit, didn't it? But it's all right, it's a good ball. It's no great effort to reach. The green is running well. Not quite sure whether they like this or not. Good crowd here at the Woodland. Oh, that tried for him. That's tried all right. Yep. We'll just wait for referee Mary Ashcroft to have a look at these.
Blue bowls in.
Right. The blue of John Howard. So Alan Thompson, 2017 in his lead, but Howard certainly holds one at this end and is still holding one. Nice to get two. All the way across this woodland green, from under our commentary, positioned right across towards the players' hut. That's not going to change a thing. So, just the single.
1, Alan.
Once they agree, I think they've agreed on one. Been a good time for two, Roy, wouldn't it? That would have changed the game completely.
Yes, but this green punishes you for the slightest error, you know. The second ball of Alan Thompson was only about 2 inches below the land, and it never looked at it. It was always diving underneath, and John Howard's ball did the same. Any error and you're really punished. But this is a vital end now for John Howard.
Well, it is, and
he'll come back finger peg, I think, you know,
I'm
from
sure
where
he
he was
will,
before.
and try for that interesting falling mark. Yes, that might now be very interesting. Up and over one crown, get across the side of another, run down, line not right. Slightest error. Thompson. Well, they may not matter, they're both a yard away. Better road altogether. Good bowl. Thompson, 2018. Certainly one against him, unless this can change the game. This can win him the game. If he's spot on, it looks good. It's good enough, isn't it? I reckon that's it. John Howard reckons it. Alan Thompson knows it is, and the crowd appreciate it. It's a good win for Alan Thompson, made to work hard. He goes through against John Howard, 21-18.
Well, in the top half of the draw, we're already looking forward to the second round, where Joyce Foxcroft will play young Britain, and Brian Duncan and Norman Fletcher, the pairs partners. They meet each other in the second round. A red rose derby, if you like. And a white rose derby. Bob Hitchin will play Alan Thompson and Simon Coupe. They're winning 21-13 against Ronnie Stanford. Roy Armson's with us again. Simon Coupe, you were telling me earlier just about the best of his generation, 22 years of age.
Yes, I've monitored Simon's progress over the last 2 years, and he's entered an awful lot of tournaments, and his consistency for a man of his age is amazing. He qualifies everywhere he goes. I firmly believe he is the best young player on the scene today.
So when will he mature into a major winner, Roy?
Well, he's doing the right things, and not only that, but he's a very nice lad. His attitude is very good. I think another 5 years, and we'll know. Depends, of course, he's married, so he's got that out of the way, and he has a little daughter as well. So again, you know, he's living with all that. I think another 5 years with doing the right things, and his father and mother both good players. I think he'll come up into the top class.
Just got about time to get your tip for the tournament before the end of day one.
Well, in the top half of the draw, I've always thought that Brian Duncan will prevail. In the bottom half, it's very difficult, but I have a fancy for Tommy Johnston.
OK, Roy, thanks very much indeed. Join us again tomorrow, 10:25, day 2 of the Bassmasters 92. Here's Bassmaster. Baby. But Grandma's left holding the baby this morning because Mum and Dad are in action here at the Woodland Hotel, Ellesmere Port. Not in direct opposition today, but they are in the same half of the draw. Good morning. Possibly 2 games away from a Mr. and Mrs. confrontation in the quarterfinals. Well, Karen's first round opponent is Elsie Griesdale. Tommy up against Tony Reiden. Indeed, Tommy is the only one of that quartet who's played in the Bassmasters before, beaten finalist in '87. Well, here's looking forward to another fascinating day's play after an absolutely super start yesterday on day 1 of these 1992 Bassmasters. First prize is the richest in the game. One of them might be Karen Johnston, and there's her hubby Tommy, who's out there at the moment against Tony Reiden, and it really is a cruise for Tommy. He is leading by 18-1 as we join Hugh Johns.
Thank you, Elton, and this is the most horrific destruction job ever been done in the Bassmasters, the 11th year. As you join us, Tony Reiden has scored his 2nd shot of the game, and we're in the 15th end. Tommy Johnston has absolutely destroyed poor Tony Reiden, and it's fair to say Tony's not in the best of humour this morning. His job as a maintenance officer at a school near his home in Warrington. The police called him out of bed at 1:45 this morning because there'd been a break-in at the school, and they had to have him down there to help them sort things out, and Tony's had practically no sleep at all before coming here to the Bass on a green that he doesn't know. He hasn't played in the competition before, and he's up against a man who is playing his 15th, I think it is, his 15th match on the Woodlands green. Tommy Johnston, former runner-up in the tournament, and Tommy led off and put together 15 chalks in a row before Tony Reiden got his first one on the 12th end. On the 15th end, he scored another, but Tommy is back in again with 2 more, so he's all but 2. And you've got a feel for poor Tony Reiden, Roy, haven't you?
Yes, the game's tough enough, isn't it, without all those problems, and he knew when he came here, when the draw was made, playing Tommy Johnston, both Warringtonians, that he'd have a tough match, but everything's fallen into place for Tommy. Tony Reiden had chances early on and didn't take them, and then of course, like the player he is, Tommy's got better and better.
And the sadness is that poor Tony Reiden, apart from anything else, is going into the Bass Masters record book, or it looks as though he is. The 2 lowest scores in this tournament ever. 1986, Joe Bradbury beat Norman Hedlock 21-4, and in the final of 1990, Brian Shaw 21-4. And it looks very much as though a new lowest score is going to be recorded, though with a little assistance from Tommy Johnston. Tony Reiden's going to score again on this end. Can he get 2 out of it? No.
Reiden 1.
And sympathetic applause from the audience here at the Woodlands. Overcast, dull sort of a day, but it hasn't stopped a goodly number of people coming out for this marvellous tournament, the Bass Masters. Tony aim in life here now at this moment is to try and score 2 more chalks, I think, Roy.
Yes, this is only the 3rd time he's had the jack, and of course what he needs to get going is to keep the jack for 3 ends. If he had it for 3 ends, he could probably get the score a bit more respectable, as we used to say, get 1 or 2 chalks for the papers.
Tony won a very good tournament to get here to the Bass, the Tetley Walnut. At the Walnut Tree in Bootle, beat Chris Morrison. Tommy Johnson winning the Whitbread Masters in Liverpool, beating Ken Armitage. And I do believe Tony has got himself another one. Well, he's equal lowest score at the moment.
His only problem now, Hugh, is that being in the centre of the green, he's got to go into a corner.
Yes.
He's limited into where he can go, and of course he's had to go a fair distance right into the corner, playing about 28 yards, and it's very dangerous in that corner. There's a dip there. Anything past the jack goes off.
So it's a thumb peg bowl. Bias now working right to left as we look at it from behind. As we coast in from the high point behind Tommy's bowl, which is ditch bound. He's cut that a bit narrow, I would say. Jack is over to the left there. Yes, he's a long way away, but at least he's got 2 balls on the green. Now, Tommy needing 1 for the game, and that's going into the ditch. Well, a big roar of approval from the fans. And Tony Reiden has escaped going into the record books as the lowest score in the Bass. 6 off the mat to Tony Reiden, Tommy Johnston, 20. And again he comes out centre of the green. Well, Tony bowling with a great deal more confidence. Now he's got a few chalks. As Johnston's ball comes up over the crown and goes well past.
And going through Tommy's mind now, Hugh, is the fact that he's plenty of chalks in hand. He's a forcing type of player. He's always reaching. If you notice, he's never short.
I think he's only one, Tommy.
Tommy coming with a little bit of weight here now. Takes the blue bowl out, and that, I think, will win it. Have to wait for Tommy to come up. Yes, that powerful bowl from Tommy Johnston, taking out the shot bowl, Tony Reiden, and an overwhelming victory for Tommy Johnston then, 21-6.
Your wages. Aye, aye, aye.
Here's the missus, her outdoors. I think they must have discussed a similar game plan over breakfast this morning, because Karen, in her match against Elsie Griesdale, is well up as well. In very similar form to Tommy, she's leading 16-2 as we join Mary Ashcroft and Brian Brett.
Cuts it effectively to 1 if she had a chance of 2 before that. So Karen knows the score. She's got a nice side to just get past the first bowl and now start turning and dipping. Not enough. Another single.
Griesdale, 1.
So off the mat. 316. She's got the whole of the green virtually there at her disposal. She ain't going to go too far. She's going slightly towards the opposite corners. Elsie's sister also won the Isle of Man, Margaret, and she was runner-up in 1990 as well. They make a good pair. Now, what about this?
Good lead again.
Yes. This is more her length.
It's a good lead, and it means that she's not allowed the score to spoil her.
That's right. She's come back, hasn't she? Mm. I know she wants to enjoy it, but I think she wants to get a few points on the scoreboard. We can see from our picture that the first bowl up is actually in the approach. I think there is a little bit of daylight, actually, but she's found it.
2 good bowls.
Yes. Difficult to beat. Now Karen.
And she's on a better line
Yes.
this time.
It's similar to the last bowl up, and now working, just nudging one.
They just have gone. Just like
We had the groans from Elsie's supporters.
Yes.
It just rested on the back bowl, didn't it?
It did. I think the yellow disc is actually on. Yes. Karen, obviously a good eye, didn't bother with the measure. But she has kept her composure, and her game plan is obviously this, the 30 yards. It's getting the jack long enough and early enough to be able to do it. Got a nice style about her, just gently strokes the ball away.
Yeah, she's watching her bowl
she likes
move.
this.
She's staying on the mat watching its course.
Just learning from that, just cut away.
Good length.
Karen, of course, the left-hander, will learn. Now, if it can run, it's better.
Here it goes.
Yep. Just 1 or 2 dips to get into there, and the ball will roll up to the jack. Slight adjustment needed.
She's made
She looks
the
better,
adjustment.
doesn't she? Looks good, this. Yeah.
Well bowled.
Well, she's far enough, isn't she? She's just put some running into this to try and either play that ball out, yes, and count 2. Well, Now that's a great illustration, Mary, isn't it, of the professionalism of this lady. She sees the opportunity. She summed it up very quickly. And it was a quite intentional shot.
Yes, not afraid to take the chance.
But
whereas the majority of lady bowlers play a bowl to beat a bowl, Karen will play a bowl to win
take
an
out
end.
if
Yes.
necessary, to win an end. That's the important thing. But at 16-14 then and 18-14 now, if she wants, she can afford to play bowls like that. But I suspect she would play them in any event. She has dominated the game, dictated the pace and the direction.
Straight back to the corner she wants to play on.
Yes, she hasn't gone for the other corners, which possibly might have been easier to get to. She just stuck to the one diagonal.
It's gone out, Chelsea.
There is a big difference here in ability and experience. While the younger lady really has played at top level, you just get the feeling that Elsie is a lady who enjoys club bowling and league bowling and goes out and has a pleasant time and is glad to be here.
She's a county bowler,
Yes.
Brian.
No, only one.
She's got that on her biogs, actually. She's been playing county bowls since 1987, 22 appearances. She really ought to know. Now then, just can't get there, can it?
No.
There was a good opportunity.
Room there.
Johnson, one.
1, the jack,
19.
and the position. 19. A double away from success, and she looks as though she could be a bit of a problem for the men in the next round. And we know that the ladies have certainly done things in the past, like Maureen Bresnan among the spectators. She was here very early on, getting a seat. And last year, of course, 21-17, she beat Phil Carouche, 21-19, Chris McDonald, and then lost to Ken Strutt in the quarterfinals. But she really set the standard the ladies have got to aim for, didn't she, Mary?
Both her and Jane Jones
Jane
last
Jones
year.
did
Yes,
extremely
they
well.
did. They both.
But you see, when we think that Pat Davis isn't here, you might well make out a case for an invited player.
Well, this is my my reasoning, is that I feel that there's not only room for an invited player, I think there's room for another lady player. If you keep the 3 top competition winners in and an invited one, I feel strongly for this. Because there are so many ladies in these handicaps. There was over 1,000 in the Waterloo, and
well,
was
look
it
at
600 at the wire?
The Golden Lady attracted a huge entry. Yes, you're right, but I think they've got to make noises, and you just started it, so hopefully the organisers will listen. They've done quite well over the years, you know. The first year I thought the 3 ladies did well. Maybe the second year not as well as they might have done, but they came back strongly last year. And
they're so... they're not rated at all. They've never been rated, and I think it's undermined the confidence a little bit when they've come onto a green. And I've always said it will happen, it will, and I think it's brought the Bass absolutely to life, this ladies' joy.
Another dimension, hasn't it? It's an ingredient.
Yes.
And you're right. I mean, you were talking to Norman Fletcher yesterday. He won't like playing a lady if it ever happens. None of them do.
None of them like playing.
They don't
ladies.
like losing to
they
ladies.
Don't. It's that. Now you've hit the nail on the head. It's not that they don't like it. They don't like the idea of losing to a lady.
Yes. But it's really up to the ladies to have the belief and the confidence that they can go out and play the game they want to play.
That's right.
And not worry about the corners. Or strength.
Or anywhere.
Or anything, or pressure.
Well, Elsie.
Yes.
Good lead.
Yes.
At 19-5, she's not given up.
She's not. It's to her credit that she's still sticking in there and playing bowls the way she wants to play. Now, Karen, just a yard short. She's further than Karen. She'll pass that bowl and be right on the jack. Just nudge. What a pity. What a pity. What are you holding to? Karen is certainly further with this one. But Unless it can do a bit of work now, it's not going to feature at all. No, she's left 2. Well, her first double. Not yet. Move the poles away for Karen to arrive, but it's still 2. Long think about where she might go next, but at 7.19. She's actually played better than 7.19. She hasn't had any of the decent connections. What about the jack? Has she overplayed the jack?
Oh dear.
Hold on, says Terry Ashcroft, referee, and she sent the jack off. So Karen will now set the mark, and we've a feeling where she might be going with this, Mary.
You should come back to this corner.
Very chance she might just come down here, just beneath our position. Right, yes. Why change
Look at her
formula?
face, absolute determination.
There's a great difference in them, isn't there? Elsie, I'm sure, is as determined, but she doesn't look as though she's under the same sort of, suffering from the same sort of tension. Concentration. George Foxcroft told me is what it's all about. And she used that well enough against Rowley Pratt. Now encouragement there, so she's just 1.5 yards through. Karen set the mark, Elsie played to it, now Karen. Working nicely, bending nicely. Yep. Gets her one of the 2 she needs, but Elsie now really has got to produce a match-saving bowl, otherwise she could be in for a spot of bother. This looks as though it's going to drop short. Yep, it'll not count. So now Karen holding 1, needing 2 for game, and for a very impressive workout first round. But this again is running, Mary, isn't it? It needs to hit the back ball and rest. Well, that's typical, isn't it? Isn't that just typical? She's got everything that's been going. She's deserved to, because she's played the bowls. Yes, and Karen Johnston has gone through. The smile at last from Karen. Karen Johnston wins it, 21 against Elsie Griesdale, 7.
Well, I'm joined by Mr. and Mrs. Ladies first. That was a pretty easy win, really, with no disrespect intended to Elsie.
Yeah, I played quite well. I got a good lead, which is what I wanted, really. And Elsie had a couple of hard looks early on and just went away, luckily.
Did you discuss the same game plan over breakfast, Tom? Because your game was pretty similar, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, he just, hit a good length, like, and, just won, really. It's, simple as that, really.
How much time, Karen, do you spend bowling, the 2 of you, and talking about bowls at home? Does it dominate your lives?
We don't talk about bowls at home, really. We just play 5-6 times a week, something like that.
What about baby Lee? Well, he's not so much of a baby now, is he? What, nearly 2?
Hard work.
Is he showing any of the sort of family trait there?
He kicks them. Plays football with balls like me, so.
I'm sure, Karen, you've realised that if you win your next round game and Tommy wins his next round game, you meet each other in the quarterfinals. Has that ever happened before?
No, not in anything like this, no.
No.
Have you thought about it, Tom?
No, big game.
It'd be nice to get there, really. There's a game before that, so.
Separate rooms the night before, do you think it might be?
No.
Would you be talking?
No, it'd be nice if it happened. Just go on and play and see whoever wins.
Well, it'd be lovely to record it at home, wouldn't it? And show it to Lee and your grandchildren in years to come. Thanks very much indeed, and well done today. Super performance by both of you. Our live game very shortly features Fred Hume and the inaugural winner of the Bass Masters in '82, Noel Burrows. Rob McLaughlin reports.
Noel Burrows' Bass Masters touch has deserted him somewhat since he won the inaugural tournament, but during that time he's developed his skills round the golf course. But then you don't often lose your touch on the greens, whatever sport you're playing.
Golf is just a letting off steam. You can go on the golf course and you can brag and boast and hit the ball where on earth you like. And it doesn't really matter, you just have a jolly good time.
Is bowls still the first love?
Oh yes, definitely, yeah. But I enjoy my golf, I still play to win at that.
These days, Noel runs a beautiful, quaint public house on the edge of the Derbyshire Peak District, where he's landlord and he's chef. But it's bowls and the bass that count at the moment, even though the memories are somewhat mixed.
I've had some some marvellous games on there, and I've had some real drubbings as well. And I remember once I got beaten in the first round, I think 21-6 or something like that. I know it was, you wish the ground had just opened up and swallow you when that happens.
It's a long time since you've won it.
I know.
Can you do it again?
Well, it would be very nice. I mean, I wouldn't be going there and trying to do it if I didn't think I could do it.
In a sense, we've all grown 10 years older with Noel Burrows as the Bass Masters has developed and changed. The faces have become a little more worn, a little more experienced perhaps, but the essence of the tournament and Burrows' belief in himself remains undiminished. Is the Bass special because the money's good, or is it the event itself?
It's the event itself, I think. It's a terrific atmosphere. It's not an exceptionally big green, and the crowd's very close to the green, and you just get a marvellous atmosphere.
These days, Noel Burrows is as content picking up his daily groceries as he is picking up prize money on the bowling green. An outside bet for this year's title, maybe, who might just go close if he gets his feet under the Woodlands table.
The thing with me, I think, is that I just do not like being beaten, and I always want to be up there with the best, so it's still there. I've still got it.
Getting my Granada Robs mixed up there. That was McCaffrey, of course, not McLaughlin. Roy, what about Noel Burrows? Won it here in '82, the very first Bass Masters. Is he good enough to do it again?
He's been working very hard in his kitchen. His chef's been off, but yeah, he's good enough.
OK, join us after the news. Hume against Burrows. Welcome back. Noel Burrows against Fred Hume in a moment. We're in the commentary box. This is where Hugh, who's over there, Roy and Brian have got just about the best seats in the house. Now, with the aid of our telestrator, we're going to take a geographical study of the green here at the Woodland Hotel in Ellesmere Port. Roy, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people think that a crown green has one crown and it's as simple as that. But it isn't, is it?
No, I think when this green was first laid, many years ago, it had an 11-inch crown. But over the years, erosion has taken place, and now there are in fact two crowns. One is there, and the other one is there.
Which present what sort of problems to the bowlers?
When they're playing in the corners, they have to be very careful if they're playing underneath the crown there, that they hit that, they don't get too low. Because if a ball comes underneath, gets underneath that crown, and it'll finish up down there.
What are the other interesting aspects of this green here at the Woodland Hotel?
There are two very precarious areas. One of them is a dip in this corner. There's this distinct dip there, and also one in this corner here. So that if the jack stops on the top of there, anything going past it will fall away into the ditch.
That's the grandstand end. What about here, the commentary box end? What about round this area, Roy?
Round there are some high spots. There's about 4 or 5 high spots, all there, and when the green gets quick, those start to run. The players have to be very careful. If they have a ball going over there, it'll run away.
So what you're saying is you've got to be very precise around here, maybe an inch too much running, and the bowls will run down here. That's something the players have got to be very cautious of.
That's true. And then, of course, there is also the famous trolley, the Trousdale trolley, where Colin Trousdale won the tournament in 1988, and that is right across the green. If you get in there, you've got about a foot to play in, and you'll always get good bowls. If any of the players are in trouble, they're liable to make for that trolley.
Right, well, the game between Hume and Burrows is taking place at the moment. Fred Hume is up. Now, you know Noel Burrows' game as well as anybody, I would have thought, apart from Burrows himself, who is firing at the moment. I'm sure you can see that. And missing. He saved one, though. What's going to be the Burrows game plan from here on in? How's he going to utilise the green to good effect and get through to the second round?
Well, Noel's actually started in 3/4 corners. He started around about here, and he went finger peg right up in that corner and stopped the jack there. That's his normal game. Fred, of course, has shortened him down. And to be honest, Fred is normally played from there to there to there. And he's going about 28 yards. Where he is now,
where you put the third little dot there, he's almost hit it, Roy.
That's right. And this is the thing that Fred will do. And to be honest, this game has gone contrary to what's happened in the past. Usually Noel dominates the game, but Fred's really getting in there now, and he's got a good ball going here.
Right, well that's fascinating, Roy. I'm sure that's helped a lot of people who don't quite appreciate all the little tricks and mischief that the green can get up to when they watch on television. Let's have a look at these two. First of all, Noel Burrows, a great pal of yours. Although he's behind at the moment, his temperament has never been suspect, has it?
No, I think the famous American tennis player Jimmy Connors has a saying, doesn't he? You know, he says that form is temporary, class is forever, and that's what Noel is.
And Fred Hume, he's a bit different, isn't he?
Oh, yes, Fred's different. On the circuit, he's known as a real character. He's one of the most effervescent characters on the game, volatile and very animated.
You can say that again, Roy. And a quick warning maybe for any lip readers out there.
Yes, his language is sometimes known as a little bit fruity.
Same can be said of Hugh Johns. Over to you, Hugh.
Well, fruit and nutcase Hugh Johns, I think, most of the time, but that's two shots that Noel Burrows just picked up with the two best bowls that he's had this morning. So, Noel Burrows 4, Fred Hume 6, and it is a fascinating struggle that's going on out there. Now going towards the Woodland Hotel into a corner, which used to be a corner anyway until the little bit was chopped off it. Referee out there having a look. Terry Ashcroft. Terry replacing our dear friend Frank Kitchen. Hope you're feeling a lot better, Frank, in Whiston Hospital, and enjoying the bowls on telly along with all the other viewers in the Granada and border areas. Fred then on this shortish mark. Fred certainly has massive support around this green. What does Noel think about it? It's another one for Fred.
Hume, 1.
Yes, indeed. So Fred, 7-4 in front. Now, what part of the green is he going to select this time? He's been having a little trot around one way and another. Brian Brett?
Yes, Hugh, I think he's just trying to mislead the referee to say nothing of the rest of us here. He's looked everywhere, hasn't he? He's not going to go very far, I'm sure. You know, Noel's biggest trouble is not going to be himself or the bowls or the green. It's going to be handling Fred, isn't it? Just, he is a distraction.
Lovely big man from Stockport, former Derbyshire county bowler and recent years Cheshire county bowler. British Parks merit winner as long ago as 1971. First major triumph, 1966, the Manchester Evening News. Came to bowls, I suppose, late in life. When you look at the youngsters playing today, he was 27 when he picked up a bowl for the first time. That was 30 years ago. Cut that a bit tight. Just short of a length. And he's got the two closest bowls at the moment. Noel giving the bowl a little bit more land and scoring a winner. Yes. So 5-7 off the mat, Noel Burrows. I would have thought that Noel would have gone deep into the corner with that one, Brian.
I thought he might have gone to the opposite corner, actually, Hugh, and gone straight up and then tried to get back to his favourite corner. He plays them both pretty well. He's only gone 3/4, if that, hasn't he? Just over that crown or between, off the second crown. Good lead.
That's a very good lead. Now, Fred has not arrived. Now Burrows' bowl coming up. Over the crown, down the other side.
5 feet.
Woo, slow down. Beautiful bowl. Oh, yes. Two cracking deliveries. Fred fancies this. Chances, chances. Unlucky. One for certain.
Burrows! One!
Yes. 6-7 to Noel Burrows. Noel, who's won basically everything that it's possible to win in the Crown game. Starting off with the Lancashire Junior Merit way back in '66. Lancashire Merit, the Waterloo, the All England, Champion of Champions, Bass Masters, Crown King, and even Super Bowl when that fabulous game against David Bryant produced so much excitement in 1985. Now Fred's lost his line this time. Noel's given him just a fraction longer mark than Fred was playing earlier in this match when he was picking up shots. 2 to beat. I would have thought he'd have hit that one with some weight, but he's trying to draw it. He's trying to draw it. Yes, he likes it. Way! Whoa! I do believe he liked that one. I really think that he enjoyed that one.
I tell you what, Hugh, he can't keep running around like that. What is he, 57? Yeah.
Good gracious me.
The earth shook as he approached. He's gone further.
And he's going to enjoy this one as well, I think. A little bit more, go on. Nope. Oh, Noel gave that one up. Went about 3 yards up the green after it and then turned his back on it. So let's see what fiery Fred can do with this one. Having a little gallop. Surely an easy single for Noel Burrows. Gotta be. Well, a chance wasted for Fred Hume. Noel. A new look Noel, of course, without the mustache. Told us this morning that it was intended to be used as a transplant for John Bancroft's hairline, but it didn't quite work out. What a good lead. Finger peg ball so that the bias will work from left to right as we look at it. 2 good deliveries from Noel Burrows.
2, Fred.
Now, does Fred use a little bit of weight here? Now, planning to to draw in, peg down the hill now, start working. Whoa. Well, he rubbed his first bowl over, and he saved one. Saved one. Well, plenty of action still to come in this match, and we'll be here when you rejoin us. Well, in the short time that you've been away, Noel Burrows has picked up 3 more chalks, and he now leads 11-8. Just 2 ends of bowls were played while you were away. And Noel has not led particularly well to this block. Fred doesn't like it at all, and that's why. Noel playing in his 8th Bass Masters, having won the first back in '82. He's only gone out in the first round 3 times. And he's putting a little extra pressure on Fred Hume at the moment. Just one. I think I heard Fred say that an ambulance come for me.
I think he was renegotiating the bookies' odds too. He started out 5-2 to win the heat, and Noel was heavily backed 4-1 on.
Noel in the hotel business, the pub business, all his working life, originally at the Red Lion, which had been in the family for donkey's years, at Withington, now the Lamb Inn at Chinley in Derbyshire. And Noel's had to do a fair bit of extra work this week. His chef has been off ill, so he's had to do a great deal of the cooking up there, but he is a very, very experienced man in catering, so that would be no hardship for him, except a little tiring with regard to preparation for this important tournament. Well, that's one good, one bad bowl. Noel Burrows.
Hey, this is better. Get the puck. Get the puck. Get the puck. Get the puck. Get the puck.
Oh, the crowd are with Fred. Oh, Fred strikes again. 9-12.
Yes, I love the quote then from Fred. This is a better road than the Jack. Well, he's got to change it, hasn't he, now? And he is doing. Shortened it, almost half the green, just off the first crown, the edge of the second crown, and down towards an area where there's a bit of a gully, not quite the Trousdale trolley, but certainly a gully. And he's ridden over it.
Well, let's see where Noel gets to. It's looking good. Tiny collision with the block, takes the running off the bowl, and it stays there. Now, Fred urging that one to run a bit more. Unlucky.
Yeah, just that bit tight. Yeah. Oh, the first one, yeah.
No. Well out for this second.
he's still sticking to the diagonal that he probably wanted on way back in 1982 against Kent Strutt, Noel Burrows. Fred is struggling now to keep the count down to 1 against him after that flying start by Fred. Noel has really taken over the second quarter.
Yes, Fred in fact led out at the start and was holding 2 until Noel came up with his last bowl and knocked the whole lot into the ditch, block and all. And then Fred put together a little break of what, 6 before Noel started to come back. Noel's bowls, these wooden £2.13 jobs, they're turned down flat bowls, aren't they, Brian?
Yes, they are. He doesn't like messing about with bowls, but Fred too is using wood, although an ounce less. There's not a great deal between them. What has he left?
2 more for Noel Burrows, 15-9 his lead. Noel, who's been playing bowls since, well, he got his first set of bowls when he was just 4 years old. They were jack-sized bowls, and one of his happiest memories of a great man and a fascinating game of bowls is he was just 12 years old and he managed to beat the great Eric Rhodes, a legend very much in the Crown Green game. Let's have a look at the green side view of this game again then with Roy Armson and Elton Welsby.
Really, Hugh, a terrific atmosphere down by the side of the green. Roy, how distracting is it for a thorough professional like Noel Burrows to be playing a guy who is so animated as Fred?
Well, it can be very distracting. The main thing is you've got to get in front of him and get him under a little bit, and then you can join in. But if you haven't got a big chalk cushion, then of course it is distracting. It just tends to put you off. But he's a good character, Fred, and of course Noel's played him about 4 times before, and each time they've played, Noel's beaten him quite easily. But Fred's got a real good ball coming. He's got a real good ball on there. Chance of 2 for Fred. And he loves it. Fred will lap it up, you know, all this, and he's got all his mates down there cheering for him. He loves the stage.
Probably the biggest stage that he's been on for a while. He's shouting that one in, Roy.
That's right. Yes, I think he's just given up. He's just short there. Be interesting now to see what he does with this jack. Yeah, I think he'll shorten it up and go across to the marquee somewhere like that. But it's important for Noel to keep his cool here now, which I'm sure he will do.
How close are we to seeing the vintage Burrows here this morning?
It's not quite vintage Burrows. I think Noel would like the green to be just a little bit quicker, but of course he's a tremendous player, and really he's found a mark, hasn't he? You know, 95% of all competitions are won on a mark. He's found a mark there, and I think he'll farm it.
Yeah, similar to what you said about Colin Trousdale a bit earlier when he found a mark. That's the point.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let's rejoin Hugh.
Thank you, Elton. And we'll see now, talking of marks, what Fred has managed to work out for himself here. Hasn't had the block in his hand too often in these last dozen or so ends. Oh, Noel's found it. It's a rather, I was going to say, a happy Noel Burrows going back to the mat, but there was no expression on that face at all, was there?
I think he's got tunnel vision this morning, understandably. He doesn't want to get involved with Fred. I don't think he's going to mix it with Fred at all. But I do think this was a mistake, and he's been forced into the firing shot, Fred. But this could go right against him because Noel has one and is in the position for the opposite corners.
Yes, 2 here. And he's all the way downhill, but he hasn't got the 2. 16-10. And the unhappy memories of recent years in the Bass for Noel Burrows beginning to be forgotten. 84 out in the first round of Peter Richardson, 85 out in the first round of Robert Crawshaw, 88 second round to David Richardson, 89 second round to Tommy Johnson, and then last year first round to Kevin Jones. That's what Roy was talking about earlier, wasn't it, Brian? On this particular area,
yes.
If you get a little bit past the jack,
Beyond the jack,
they'll go on running.
And for quite a long way, you see, this looks all right, but there's still some running in it. It's hit a green patch, but still run on. Very closely cropped, this green. Super condition.
Yes, we were congratulating Pat Heaney yesterday as the consultant for this green, but the hard work, the real graft has been done by the greenkeeper here, Keith Robertshaw, who is... he's taken excellent care of this green, which had got itself into a state of bad repair at one time, I think, Brian, hadn't it?
I think a lot of greens have suffered. It's not a major tournament green, that's the thing, but every year it's got to be up to standard for the Bass. They've worked on it, and it's to their credit. It's a good green.
Burrows, one.
Yes, that's Keith Robertshaw, a smile on his face and entitled to be smiling at the state of the green that he's prepared here and the fine audience that has come out on a dull overcast day to the Woodlands Hotel at Whitby, just down the road from Ellesmere Port. Still a few places here, and quality bowls in the Bassmasters will be going on all day, practically non-stop. A lot of good games to come. Certainly they're enjoying that one.
There was a little exchange of words there on the footer. Freddie's not happy about Noel damaging that little yellow jack.
Has he turned his bowl over?
He has.
Yes. Oh, unlucky. Now finger pegging down the hill, straightening up. Beautiful holding too.
Second ball is 18 in.
Shows you how close they are. The second ball is 18 inches.
Was he asking who to? It's very difficult to get at, isn't it? He's changed his hand with his first ball. Is he going to go back to the other hand now? He's got to make contact.
Right hand hard down, says Fred. Oh, flew through. $19.10. A vintage year was 1910. And a vintage piece of bowls from Noel Burrows here now. Live again from Ellesmere Port as the sun tries to break through these overcast skies. But I would have thought that Noel Burrows feels at this moment the sun is shining on him.
Short to the hill. Come out to puff.
I'm out of puff, said Fred.
We told him not to run so much, didn't we?
Well, he has been cantering around like a 2-year-old.
Oh, that's got at Noel, hasn't it? That got at Noel. That's a distraction.
Yes. Yes.
Needs to count this end, Fred, doesn't it? 1910. Don't let him fool you. He's a good bowler, this man. It's doing as it's told. Doing as it's told.
Got it.
Let's see the dive.
There'll be a small delay now while Uncle Fred disappears into the distance to pick up the mat. That was an indication of a score that was not a gesture.
He signalled one, but not to who, and then he sportingly gave it to Fred. Nice touch.
So Fred takes a little breather for a moment or two while his little grey cells start working out where to plant this yellow target. Over towards the player's hut. Curly mark, finger pegging up over the top of the crown. And now wants the bias to be assisted by the slope and coast down tidy. Noel, of these, as we were saying, turned down wooden flat bowls that he's been bowling with since 1974. Bowls that have appeared on so many crown greens to such good effect. Well, it's two tidy bowls from Fred Hume. Not easy to beat. Hey. And Freddie tried to stop it with the duster. Didn't succeed. So, a single to Noel Burrows. He's all but 11. Fred Hume giving the crowd here at Ellesmere Port at, what, 25 to 12 on a Friday morning. Absolute value for everything. And so is Noel Burrows with the accuracy of his bowls. But Fred got to be in a class alongside people like Vernon Lee for giving value on the green, Brian.
Entertainment value, and it shouldn't mask just what a good bowler he is, but Burrows leading has won this game, hasn't it?
Yes.
2011. The first bowl invariably has been there, and Fred's been under pressure. Now he's coupling up. Here's one I made earlier. Look at that.
Yes.
Fred, they're inquiring about sort of drug testing of Mr. Burrows after this performance. Shades of the Olympics.
Well, this is probably the last bowl in the tournament for Fred Hume. It is. Fred is out. Noel Burrows only wanted one. He's got two. And Noel comes forward to shake the hand of an old adversary, an old friend, Fred Hume, who has given so much entertainment to the game of crown bowls here this morning. I think we'll be remembering him for a long, long time to come. But for Noel Burrows, the satisfaction of a 21-11 score and going into round two. Super stuff from Noel.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Hugh. We're just waiting for the two of them to come over and join us. A quick reaction from you first, Roy. Just simply marvellous entertainment. I think the crowd were admiring the bowls and they were laughing themselves as well.
Yes, I know Fred's lost today, but he's made a lot of friends here. The applause from the punters round the Woodlands Hotel here have told you that. Very popular character, and Noel, of course, has given a professional performance. He knows what he had to do, and he's done it. But I feel for Fred. I think he's done a real first-class job for us here today, yeah. Smashing.
It's a shame, actually, that he's got to go out, although you have to say that the better player won on the day.
Oh yes, he did. But it's been a real super match, a pleasure to watch, and both players, having played each other before, it's been played in a first-class spirit.
It certainly has. Well, Noel Burrows is actually just coming over to join us, so if we all move up and move over here, we can come and meet them. Noel, well done. Yeah, great performance. You must be delighted with that. Fred, do you want to come and join us as well, please?
Yeah, well, he was playing very well to start with, Fred, and I had to get my head down and get stuck in. He was full of confidence, and he could have run away with it if I hadn't, just nicked in and got going myself.
I think full of confidence is the understatement of the year, with no disrespect intended, Fred. Is it a little bit difficult sometimes when someone is playing to the crowd and having a good time? Is it distracting?
Not really. I mean, the game's about enjoying it as well, and that Fred enjoys it in his own inimitable way, of course. I've played Fred a few times, so I know what to expect, and well, we're good pals, really, aren't we?
Yeah, very good, yeah. Very good pals, yeah. I thought I had nobody stuck to his task. I played very well early on. Noel came back, played superb game, actually. He's not played that well for quite some time, to be honest, Noel, but he would pick today, you know. But
well, it's the big stage, isn't it? I mean, he's always done well on the big stage.
Oh, yes, he's a man for the occasion, is Noel, like, but I'm just a bit disappointed. Nevertheless, I played all right,
You have a unique style, Fred, if you don't mind me saying so, and the punters around the green absolutely love it.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of friends around, and we have a bit of banter at most matches, and it goes down well. Some people don't like it, but nevertheless, that's how we carry on. We enjoy it.
Reminds me a little bit of a sort of a heavyweight Vernon Lee.
Yeah, except Fred can't dance.
Yeah, quite.
Now, he said you've not been playing quite as well as sort of the vintage Burrows a few years ago, but he says, well, now you are looking pretty good.
Well, the problem's been that through business, etc., I've not been playing quite as much, so your game isn't quite that fine-tuned. There's just the odd end that you need to win to go through and win a game, and maybe I've not been quite doing it, but I've had a good few games the last week or so, and just feel as though I'm getting back.
Well, you won it in 82, it's now 92.
Oh no, a long time ago, isn't it?
All right, well, thanks very much indeed for a great game, great entertainment. Thanks, Fred.
Okay.
Hope to see you around. Cheers, Noel. See you in the next round. Okay. Right, what we can do now is show you the conclusion to a really exciting game yesterday between Martin Bacon and Chris McDonald. The commentators are Roy and Hugh, and it is really very tight indeed. Good stuff, this.
No way. Well, Martin Bacon knows how much he's got to improve on his first delivery. This one he's given more land to. Just enough. But it's still dramatically short of the target. Surely Chris can beat that. Surely that will come in. Yes. So a wasted opportunity for Martin Bacon.
McDonald.
Chris McDonald scores a single. And we're level at 18 across. Now, is that going to stay on? Oh, McDonald answering Martin Bacon's tactics in like manner. Martin has really got to push this one out. This very tiny, high-density bowl. What a superb bowl! What a cracker! Oh. And he's striking. He's got to hammer that out. Well, Mary can't get behind it to catch it. There's no room. That very nearly broke a hole in the fence. Now, a chance for Martin Bacon to couple up with his first bowl. Here it comes. Is it going to count? Yes, it is. 2 for Martin Bacon. Well, that was a spectacular first bowl lead on that end from Martin Bacon, Roy.
It certainly was. I think it was a mistake by Chris McDonald to strike, because if he missed, Martin was in for 2. And now he's going for game. A good tactic again, a new place, going round peg right across the crown, about 35 yards, thumb peg. Must push it up here. The grass is a little bit lush towards this part of the green. Bad lead.
Yes, this is the time you've got to put some pressure on a former champion in Chris McDonald. Remember, 1987, beating Tommy Johnston in the final, 21-16 on that occasion. It's run a long way through. Now, can Martin Bacon find the bowl that will end this match? No. Left it. He's left it. Now suddenly there's 2 here for Chris McDonald.
And that's nothing but nerves, Hugh.
McDonald, 2.
Wow, what a dramatic climax we're building to in this match. Martin Bacon behind all the way through this match to 15-17, leveled it at 17 across, went ahead for the very first time in the match at 18-17, scored a 2. Chris McDonald has scored 3 since then, and now we're level at 20 across. McDonald wanting to see the finish of this bowl. Is it the one that wins the match? It's a devil of a bowl to beat. This has got to be inch perfect. It's got a chance. It's got a great chance. Yes! Well, Martin Bacon with that punch fist in the air. You'd have thought he'd won the cup.
Well done, Martin. That was a bowl under pressure, and here's McDonald striking now.
Oh, that one bounced all over the place. Through and out. And so is Chris McDonald, and the florist from Swinton in Manchester, Martin Bacon. It's all coming up roses for him. What a marvellous climax to a tremendous performance by Martin Bacon. He'll remember that last bowl as long as he ever plays bowls. Final score then. Chris McDonald 20 and Martin Bacon 21.
Never a dull moment when Chris McDonald's around, a former champion of course, lost 21-20 last year as well to Maureen Bresnan. Good day for the Johnstons today, and of course Noel Burrows against fiery Fred Hume. Roy, Martin Bacon, that was a very impressive win yesterday.
Yes, he did a very good job. He was very nervous at the start, as they all are, but he stuck in and played very well, yeah.
Got a bit of advice from you, didn't he?
Well, on Wednesday he was very apprehensive about playing, and he didn't know what to do. He asked me would I go on the green with him, which I did, and I was able to make 1 or 2 suggestions, one in particular which worked during the course of the game. It was really where to place the jack, and I don't think he wants me to say too much about it, but nevertheless I think it's plan 42 and it worked.
Okay. What about the Johnstons today? Formidable.
Oh yeah, they were really on song, both of them. Possibly the games were predictable, but they were tremendous, weren't they? You know, both of them playing long lengths, you know, 45, 50 yards, really good. Yeah.
Tommy, of course, your tip for the title, certainly from the bottom half of the draw.
Yes, of course. It gets harder for him now, and it remains to be seen. But he's in good nick.
Well, we talked about Noel Burrows. Good to see him back in such splendid form. This afternoon, Stan Frith against Glynn Cookson, the two Cheshire lads.
That's right. Championship of Cheshire. They are the two best players in Cheshire. That'll be a real humdinger of a game. Both in good form, really good, and the outcome of that could well decide.
Stan Frith, of course, came here really as a reserve, and it's been the year of the reserve. John Daly in the USPGA just under a year ago in golf. Denmark in the European Football Championships. You know, the Danes were coming off the beach to play there and win, and now Stan. I just wonder whether he could be the real dark horse in this tournament.
Yes, either of those could topple my tip.
Right, okay, they're in the bottom half of the draw. You'll be able to see them this afternoon. Rejoin us here at the Bass Masters at 1:45. Goodbye for now. Welcome back. Day 2 here at the Woodland Hotel in Ellesmere Port. The first round is nearing its conclusion. We'll have the whole game live between those two great Cheshire champions, Stan Frith and Glynn Cookson, coming up very shortly. But first, a little teaser for you. What has the Bass Masters and this got in common?
But really, Wembley is the furthest thing from the minds of these Wigan players. John Bentley, great. John Bentley into lead. That puts a different complexion on it.
Well, we'll have the answer to that one for you later on in the programme. The player scoring the try, John Bentley of Leeds and Great Britain. And the answer, by the way, is not that it's a traditional northern sport like crown green bowling. Now, the game that we're about to see live, Roy, the whole thing between Stan Frith and Glynn Cookson, they're both Cheshire bowlers, probably the best in Cheshire. Did Stan's success over the years inspire Glynn? There's a 20-year difference between the two, Stan being 54, Glynn 34.
Yes, Glynn Cookson comes from a bowling family. His father plays and his brother Barry plays, so he's steeped in bowling, and there's been a battle over the years as to who was the best player in Cheshire, and I'm only glad that both of them are in our Cheshire team. Are they good pals, or is there a little bit of needle between them? I think they are friendly. They are part of the same team, but beneath the surface there's a little bit of rivalry there, yes. Well, you were having a good chat to them a little earlier, so let's have a look at the telestrator again, the big wide shot we have here of the Woodland Green. What, first of all, is going to be Stan Frith's game plan? Well, Stan's very well aware of Glynn Cookson's game, so what he will do, I think if he'll start down here and he'll play long, swinging round peg marks, finger peg, right over to the player's pavilion. He'll try and stop the jack there, and then when he gets in there, he will come right the way back. If that doesn't work, what he will do, he will still go from the same position, but he'll go thumb peg, a long swinging round peg, over to the other side of the green, to the heavy part, to the stand. In reserve, he's always got the mark that he used in the semi-final last year, which is down this side of the green, which is a falling mark down that side. That's in reserve. Right, so basically he's got sort of 3 options, in other words. That's what Stan hopes to do. We'll clear that. Now, what about Glynn Cookson? What will he be trying to do to thwart the older man? Glynn Cookson's put a lot of practice in on the green, and what he likes to do, he likes to play in these corners. Beneath our commentary position here, Glynn will go finger peg right across, the 2 crowns being there, and Glynn will go over that one and right into that corner, stopping the jack just short of the shelf in that corner, which he doesn't want to go in. He doesn't want to go in that dip there, but he'll stop the jack there, and when he gets in, he will come back the same way, thumb peg right the way back down and finish around there. And he will stick to that plan as far as he can. If that doesn't work, then he'll use the same tactic, but he'll go from this corner, finger peg, right between the crowns again, right up into that other corner. OK, Roy, thanks very much indeed. The match is in fact about to start. Stan Frith on the right, of course, in blue, Glynn Cookson in yellow. Let's talk about Stan briefly. He was actually a reserve for this tournament and qualified because Alan Thompson qualified again, so it let Stan in sort of through the back door, if you like. But he's in form, apparently, I'm told. Yes, I was up at Vickers Sports Club at Barrow in Furness last Saturday, and Stan was really in super form. He just had one little wobble in the last 16 playing against Noel Burrows, and Stan just triumphed in that match 21-20. And he had a tremendous night because after winning the All England, he came home and went to his local pub, and there he had a phone call to say that Alan Thompson had double qualified and he was in the Bass, and to use the cliche, he was over the moon.
Now, what about Glynn Cookson? One of the best players never to win a major televised tournament. Would that be a fair comment?
Yes, I've spent quite a lot of time with Glynn Cookson this year because he's our county captain, and this is his second year as captain, and he's done a really first-class job, and he thinks an awful lot about the game, and he's a really fine player. He's been in very good form this year, but as you rightly say, never won a major, but this is going to be a real battle of the giants.
Well, it certainly is a great incentive for these two. I suppose it's like the pride of Cheshire out there. This is the unofficial championship of Cheshire, is it?
It certainly is, yes. At the moment, Stan holds the award of merit for the best performances in the county team last year, and I think Stan would tell you that Glynn's just got the better of him over the last couple of years. But it's the unofficial championship of Cheshire.
Okay, well, Glynn's taken a little bit of repartee between them there. Glynn's just taken the first chalk. I think Stan was saying probably in the last couple of years, Glynn has won 6 of their 8 meetings, Stan just a couple. But if experience is to count in this one, then don't count out Stan the man. Hugh?
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Elton. Stan the man, and he has thrilled and excited crown bowlers for so many years. A winner of great tournaments. 83, I suppose, his biggest year. All England merit, the Waterloo, and the champion of champions. But since then, oh, so many other great big wins as well. Glynn, in his favourite yellow shirt, which approximates almost to the old gold of Wolverhampton Wanderers, his favourite football team. And immediately Glynn got the block in his hand, as Roy Armson predicted he would. He went off into that far corner, but he lost his way, and it's Stan who gets his first chalk on the board. Stan Frith, who started bowls in his lunch break when he was at ICI back in 1956, and then took up league bowls with the Farmers Arms at Redheath near Northwich, and has been something of a major Crown Green celebrity ever since. Glynn Cookson, who's been bowling since he was 11 years old, started back in 1969. Luck of the draw, Brian Brett, but seems a shame in some ways that these two should be drawn against each other in the very first round.
Well, you can blame Brian Duncan and John Bancroft for that, actually, because they actually did and supervised the draw, so they didn't do themselves any favours. But you're right, it is unfortunate. But Stan was the last in, got in the back door as a reserve the day after winning the All England.
Here's Stan. So Glynn Cookson, Kookie, gets a single there. Glynn Cookson winning the Chester's Classic, the Stretford GEC, beating Ken Armitage, while Stan Frith won the Castle Private, beating Rob Eaton in the final.
Well, this isn't quite the game plan, is it, Hugh? He's picked out a sort of nice mark straight up across the green and kept out of the corners as Glynn Cookson, as we thought he might have gone slap bang into them right at the beginning.
Well, he lost his way when he got the block and went into that far corner, as Roy predicted he would. Maybe that's put him off a little bit.
May not be too happy about them. Let's find some land that's a little kinder.
Well, those aren't really good bowls that Glynn has delivered. Stan almost straight pegging in there. Stop now and you're on. Bingo. Two each apiece all round.
This is so even, this game, Hugh, that the bookmakers couldn't split them. They were offering 4-5 on either player for the heat, and then 8-1 either player for the title. Couldn't split them.
Stan on a curly mark. Down into the green below us. Oh, that's a good lead from Stan. And I couldn't ask for anything much better than that. That's a good road too. Well, I wonder if Stan might try and play onto that yellow bowl. Knock it out, leave his own in. Now he's underneath. It's a difficult collection of bowls there, difficult head for Cookie to bowl into. Run a bit, run a bit, run a bit. Unlucky. A single to Stan Frith. 3-2 to Stan Frith, and right alongside them at the moment. Elton and Roy, I'm wondering what they feel about the situation now.
Well, Hugh, we got just about the perfect view of that lead bowl played by Stan Frith at the previous end, and it was absolutely perfection, wasn't it?
Oh yes, they're playing well. I'm totally engrossed in this, and Stan, of course, is renowned as one of the best round peg players in the game, and that's what he's doing now. He's playing thumb peg, bias towards the ditch, all uphill from this position, and Stan's bowls are just a little bit stronger than Glynn's and bending right into it. He's got a good ball there. He's only about 2 feet off. Important thing here, it's all uphill.
Bowling away from us at the moment. Stan leading 3-2. Just wants to be absolutely certain here, Roy, does he, that he's holding shot, which Terry says he is.
Yes, the important thing now is to get 2, because if he doesn't get 2, Glynn will have a go at that ball, and Stan's aware of that. He'll get inside that ball, and there's the 2. 2 really good bowls. In fact, they're so near, he might even decide to have a bang now. No, he's playing to get second. The idea here is playing to get second ball and chance getting first. Has he reached this time? He's short again. Stan's caught him in the trap.
All going to plan as far as Stan Frith's concerned at the moment, Hugh, but early days, as they say.
Yes, indeed. And Stan has picked up 2 more there. 5-2, Stan Frith. Stan, who's playing in his 6th Bassmasters. His best years, 89, semi-final against Martin Gilpin, who got beaten 17-21, and last year, semi-final against John Bancroft in what I think was one of the best semi-finals we've ever seen in the Bassmasters, getting beaten 20-21.
Terrific stuff, isn't it? Do you remember him going along this edge?
Yes.
He's almost in the position now. He hasn't quite exploited that edge. That's where he lost it. You think that either of these two could actually win the tournament. Cookie maybe ought to have done better in the past.
Yes, this is Glynn Cookson's 3, 6, 7, his eighth final. Funnily enough, he's never gone further than the quarterfinals. 85, he got taken out by Len Higginbottom. 86 by Vernon Lee. And 87 by Chris McDonald.
So he's lost to some good ones.
Oh, indeed. Well, Stan is showing that he is the man right now. The All England champion. Go on, a little bit more. Great ball, super ball. That really was a cracking ball. 5-3. The score, Glynn Cookson on 3. Well, now Cookie going way across. This must be getting towards 50 yards at least, Brian, I would have thought.
I would have thought so. He's a metre and a half in from one ditch, and he's playing probably to just over a metre from the far ditch. Nobody so far has gone full corners. This is as near as they have.
Roy was saying just now that Stan is renowned as a round peg short mark bowler, but he can still reach out there.
He has a style, if we get the chance to look at it, Hugh, which suggests he is a corner player, Stan Frith, a long stride off the mat.
Well, when you've won as many big tournaments as he has, champion of champions, Crown King a couple of times, All England twice, he knows his way around Crown Greens, this fella. And he scores a single. So 3 chalks in it.
I think Stan needs to win a few bob as well, Hugh. He was fined for parking just up the road yesterday, so he wants to find another £20 somewhere. Says he's totally innocent and he's getting Fred Hume to defend him.
Well, he won't have any money on him at the moment. He has a little superstition. He goes out onto greens and makes absolutely certain that he's got no money in his pockets. Though one of his superstitions seems to have deserted him here. I haven't seen that old checkered duster that he used to keep in his back pocket. That was a superstition.
Bit of a trademark. He even carried it around in Super Bowl when he appeared in that competition.
Right.
He doesn't really need the old duster today, Stan. The green is very dry. Unlike yesterday, there was a bit of rain around. We've managed to avoid it today. It is overcast, but the green is running excellent, really well.
And Cookie has delivered a very good bowl in there. Oh, it's going to be a hard one to beat. That looks as though it's going underneath. No, it took a little bend. It took a nice little bend. Oh, unlucky. So Cookie has won the end.
That touch, you'd have been half a yard short, you would have got on it.
Can he double up here and pick 2 up? A little bit more, a little bit more. That'll do it. So the deficit, only 1 now, as Glynn Cookson settles down. Now, is he going to go deep into the corner again? No.
That's interesting, isn't it? He's pulled out of it.
Well, he was all set. I mean, everything was set up there to go corner to corner.
He deliberately pulled out.
Definitely not decided to go in that direction.
And he looks narrow. He's holding its course. It's done well.
Yard, Glynn.
Yes, I think there's a little bit of a bank down there which prevents the bias doing its full job. And Stan has not found that little bank. He's over the top of it.
No, you'd say that was tight again. Maybe the slight difference in the bowls is just giving Glynn an advantage on marks like that. Just bent at the end. There's two against him.
5 feet past Stan.
Yes, Glynn normally with a 212 and Stan with about 211. Not a lot of difference in the bowls, but Stan's bowl has won that one. Very, very nice delivery. Curved just the last second. Just came in beautifully. We'll see that one curl in nicely at the back end of its travel. Just enough weight. Creeping, creeping, creeping. A little bit more. And then it just straightens up and stays in there. Beautiful bowl. Well, now we can see the bowl coming down to our corner down below us, exactly where Roy Thompson and Elton Wellesby are situated. They'll get a good view of this at green level.
Yes, as far as Stan Frith's concerned, Roy, we'll have to stop meeting like this because he seems to really enjoy coming down into this corner, doesn't he?
Yes, and he's done a strange thing here. He's played a Glynn Cookson type mark. He's come thumb peg just under the crown, very straight. The bowl only just pegs about 2 feet here. What a super bowl he's got. It's a fascinating match, considering it's the draw that neither of them wanted. Because it's very difficult to play someone that you know quite as closely as what these two know one another.
Actually, Cookson's playing this corner so well himself. Stan has got to be almost jack high, right on the block.
He's got to be inch perfect because if Glynn gets in here, I think he'd go right back in the other corner. And Stan's got a blocker here, making it very, very difficult for Glynn to get at the blue bowl.
Glynn's delivery action is quite interesting, isn't it?
Yes, when you look closely at Glynn, he has a very small hand. And because of this, when he actually delivers the bowl, it seems as though he's actually spinning it.
Oh, fine delivery. Super.
Well, that's exactly what we were saying, Roy. Glynn Cookson is playing this corner equally as well as Stan.
Yes, and he's got the jack in his hand now, and he's having a think about things.
Here's the delivery, Roy.
Oh yes, there it goes, and it's almost out of the side of his hand. His hand's so very small, and when you stand behind him, it's actually spinning. The ball's spinning, and then it rights itself and goes up to the jack, he hopes.
Can it make you misread the line if you're playing against him?
Yes, it can. Yes, it's a little bit off-putting until you get used to it. Stan will be very well aware of it, of course, having played him so many times. But there it goes again. He's just spun that hand out. He's playing finger peg, not in the full corner, up where the grass is lush, about 35 yards. Good ball here.
Bowling well, Hugh, isn't he?
Absolutely brilliantly. An involuntary interjection into your conversation just now. Just couldn't help myself. That was a cracking delivery that won the last end. And he's gone away beautifully this time too. Well, the Championship of Cheshire on the line here, and it's already a superb nip and tuck game. I don't know who's nip and who's tuck, but it really is super stuff. Glynn Cookson having nipped up to survey the scene.
He's trying to find a way past the short bowl of Frith's, and if he makes a contact, how far has he got to knock it? There is a gap if he's up and far enough.
No, he's I think the mere fact that he went up there and came back showed a little indecision in his mind And the length of that bowl showed that he wasn't totally committed to the shot. That looks tidy. Yes. Almost on a piece of string the way Stan held up his hand and the bowl stopped. So Stan goes up the green slowly, measured stride. And the winner, 8-7, Stan Frith.
You wonder, Hugh, whether it's actually worth having the jack. If you look back over the last 6 ends, you'll see they've won off each other's jacks. One sets the mark and the other one beats it. So it's swung around. Just wondering when Stan is going to break out and try his edge.
The curious thing is that they have basically taken each other on more or less the same piece of land.
They're happy with it, they're comfortable, playing very close bowls.
Just come out. That's just a foot at the back, you're 6 inches in front.
Terry Ashcroft is the referee. Fascinating contribution by the Ashcroft family this year. Both Terry and his wife Mary referees here at the Bassmasters.
It's a tournament that makes history. That's the first time in a major that we've had a husband and wife team.
With weight, Cookie takes the bowl out. Beautiful bowl. Leaves his own bowl in there. Cookson gets a single, and we're level at 8 across. Well, an opportune moment perhaps to take a little breather. There'll still be more live action here when you return. Well, while you've been away, we've had 2 ends of bowls completed. And Stan has scored on both of them. So he's in front 10-8. And curiously enough, the game has taken just a tiny twist in these last 3 or 4 ends, Brian, as they've explored new portions of the green.
This is a bit of a surprise. It's a good response by Glynn because this mark has been set by Stan, a typical finger peg curling 28-30 yard mark by Stan Frith. He specialises on them, but this time he's got to disturb and can't. Now a good chance here for Glynn to get 2. It is a strange tactic though, Hugh. You're right, that they are exploring new territory.
Glynn surely must get 2 here. Well, that was one way of doing it. Well, 1 more each and they're level, as they used to say. 10 across.
I think, if anything, Hugh, it's Stan who's complicating this game. Having said that, Glynn has now changed. I felt sure he would go for the corners. They've both pulled out of corners.
Well, by trade, Glynn is a senior highways inspector for the Vale Royal District Council. I mean, he's used to exploring bits of land, so perhaps he's carrying his avocation into his preoccupation here.
Well, done it with a little bit of success, and that is 18 inches away, but you have a feeling that Stan might well capitalise on that.
Fine bowl from Stan. On a length, or jack high, with about 6 inches of daylight between the bowl and the jack.
put himself under pressure then.
Stan with a single. Can he couple up here? Not with that ball, I'm sure.
It's downhill, but it can't run that far here.
No. Just a single. So 11-10. Glynn looking a little downcast. Doesn't need to. There's only one chalk in it. 11-10. But young Simon, 9-year-old, the eldest of his two children. He has Simon and Laura. And Simon in a Wolves shirt, obviously, like his father, a Molyneux fan. Well, that's again another portion of this Woodlands Green. This is almost a sort of demonstration match, isn't it?
Let's show people around, let's show the folks around the green and even have a look at the ditch while we're at it. It's cat and mouse, it's tricky stuff, but invariably it's not worked.
It's on the road, but hadn't got the legs.
Well, it's on the green, Hugh, I suppose, isn't it?
Ooh, that came off a little hill then.
Oh, I must say.
And has not beaten the yellow bowl, as you can see. Cookie getting out wide to have a good look.
Danger being any connection on Stan's bowl promotes that. I wonder whether he'll try the other hand or whether he's happy with this one.
I would think he can curl around the outside of that, Brian, wouldn't you?
Providing he doesn't hit that same piece of land where it came back rather viciously.
Well, he's pushed it well out.
I think that's where they did the damage now.
Come on down now. And count two for me. Yeah. Well, this is a fascinating position. 12-11 to Glynn Cookson, and this only the second time in the match that Glynn has actually taken the lead. He was ahead after 3 ends, 2-1. Now he's got a one-shot advantage at 12-11, and once again he's down towards Roy Armstrong and Elton Wellesby. So let's see what their view of this particular end is.
Thanks, Hugh. Is this a bit audacious by Glynn, because he's actually opted to go into the corner, our corner down here, that Stan favoured earlier on?
Yes, it's a strange battle. This Stan Frith has aborted his plans. He's doing things. He's trying everything. He's tried long round pegs. He's tried the corners. He's tried straight marks. This is actually Glynn's natural game. This is the game that Glynn likes to play. This distance straight peg is what Glynn would normally want to do. And I think really, at the end of it all, what Stan's going to have to do to get rid of Glynn is to use the side of the green mark, the edge of the green, to our right. To use his stronger balls. I feel sure that's what he's going to have to do before he finally gets rid of Glynn, but because these balls really, I think this last ball should count here. They're 4 feet off. I think Stan will beat those.
He's certainly having a good long hard look at it, Stan. Yes, just the one, Roy, but that takes it to 12-12. You were making a comment to me before that you said this is bowling of the highest quality.
Oh yes, both these players, they're using their brains, using their wits, thinking with every ball. They're looking at balls that are 2 feet off, trying to beat them. It's really balls at its best. Any young players watching these two boys, they're perfect examples of how the game should be played. Look at Stan now, he's going all this long way, to about 55 yards here.
And this very much the sort of mark that we were expecting Glynn Cookson to play in the early stages of the game. So Stan says, right, if that's how you wanted to play, I'll push it out there and let's see what you can do. Come on up over the crown. Now start working for me. Go on, peg a little bit more, peg a little bit more. That'll do nicely. Stan set the mark, but he's got some work to do now. It's trying, it's trying, it's gone. So Glynn Cookson, first man to win the Cheshire Senior and Junior Merit.
3.5 foot pass.
Won the Cheshire Merit twice. Couple up for two. Two very, very fine bowls. Well, I think Stan made a mistake. Offered Cookie the long mark, threw a challenge at him, and Cookie picked it up and won it.
Well, he set the mark that Cookie would probably have set for himself here. But the funny thing is, I've just been looking through, only once in the last 14 ends, there's one player, and that was Frith, won 2 successive ends. Cookie's done the damage with doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doubles in his 14. Stan just 1 in 12.
And most times, I think it's fair to say that Stan has been winning ends with his second ball.
Yeah, I don't think he's been leading well enough, Stan. And again, we see it there, don't we? That Glynn has left his a good 2 yards short. They're winning with second bowls.
About 2 foot, 2'6" maybe. The blue ball in Cookson. Fraction more running in this one. Squeeze past, you're in.
Second ball.
Second ball, and a beautiful piece of green reading and adjustment.
In front.
Can't see any way through for him unless he turns his ball over. He's going to have a bang. Coming in on the other peg. Now, what happens? Oh, took himself out, took 2 out, and left Cookie with 2.
Cookson, 2.
Well, that was a dangerous shot. That really was a dangerous shot. Everything was blocked up. Didn't think he took the right option there, Brian.
No, I didn't. I thought he should have played up. Stan doesn't normally resort to a strike, but this was disastrous for him. Took his own. Now, there was always a danger, wasn't it? He knows it.
Well, now there's serious daylight between them, which is not exactly what we've got here at the Woodland Hotel. What have we got? Half past 2. The skies are a bit cloudy. We haven't got any rain, but 4 chalks the difference after 37 minutes of bowling. 28 shots have been scored. Glynn Cookson's got 16 of them. Stan Frith's got 12. An absolutely absorbing game of bowls.
Yeah, Glynn. There you are.
The lead bowl of Glynn Cookson's about a yard off. Little look over his shoulder to see where this bowl is going to wind up, and he will not be too happy about that. Stan the man has delivered another good one. So Cookie has got some adjusting to do. The adjustment looks very, very good. Yes. A tired bowl at the end of its travel, just leans over, drops down, and pinches it.
All in a line, Stan.
They're all in a line. So now can Stan creep round. That's a fine bowl too. Oh, found the gap. Would you believe it? Well, that's
Cookson, one.
a superb bowl of Glynn Cookson's. Really was a lovely delivery.
Yes, they third bowl up.
He'll feel very well pleased with that. And so his lead now is 5 chalks, 17-12.
Stan just lost his grip over the last 2 ends, a strike that went absolutely against him, and that final bowl just found the gap, and then you begin to have a few doubts.
Well, Roy was talking of the quality of both bowlers before the match started, and they've lived up to all our expectations and certainly justified the praise that Roy heaped upon them. It has been and still is an absolutely fascinating game of bowls. It's a lovely lead from Glynn Cookson. This one's trying for Stan. Just gave up fractionally at the end, but that's only failed to beat Cookson's bowl by, what, inch and a half, couple of inches? On a distance of getting on for 48 yards?
48, 50 yards. Yes, there have been inches in it, end after end. But Glynn, only Glynn really, playing his natural game, Stan thinking. They have so much respect for each other.
Now, this a crucial bowl for Stan. Doesn't want to hit his own. Oh, has he done enough? I think he probably has. That tiny little wick. I think he's got it.
I think they might ask for a measure. No, he's saying it. Yeah. It's crafty little wolves back heel there by Glynn.
That's right. So a single to Stan Frith. That was an important delivery because 12-18 would have been disaster land. Instead, it's 13-17. And we have now explored another piece of this Woodlands green.
And to our great surprise, he still hasn't used Stan Frith, the edge that we thought he might.
Needs to hit. Because once they go past the block there, there's a little downhill finish. And they run quite a distance. Coupe being more circumspect. Sent it up high. Now wants it to turn sharp left and down, but didn't come enough. A certain amount of frenzied excitement in that corner now, which is where the bookmakers are, and they're betting on this end fairly heavily. But he's gone past again. It's there to be won for Glynn Cookson. Stan scratches his ear.
He's turned over Hume and gone narrower.
Yeah. Here the bias is fighting against the slope. Well, who's got it? That bowl hasn't. So Stan Frith's got a single out of it. 14-17. Off the mat. Stan Frith. And he's coming back, I think, along this edge towards us. So, there's Fred, who had delighted us earlier in the day, giving plenty of encouragement to everybody. All the fans around him and the bowlers on the green as well. Fred Hume.
Shares a great interest in racing with Stan Frith. I just want to know whether this is the time for Stan, if he can, to go for the edge.
Oh, yes. That's a lovely ball from Glynn Cookson.
Off a lead again on a mark set by Stan.
That looks too heavy.
Ben, but not that much.
That's in the ditch. Kookie, anything 18 inches? We'll give him 2.
Won't do any damage.
Let's say that was 2.
Cookson, 2.
So Glynn Cookson with a 1914 advantage. Glynn Cookson, who has had a couple of good years behind him in recent times. 1989, in fact, he qualified for the best 3 times that season. Won the Chetwood Classic, the North Ashton and the Bass Olympia, and was also the Professional Association's British champion. And what on earth
we
was
have a
that?
delay because one of our Seagull friends from the coast has just passed an opinion on the middle of the green, and it's right in the line, certainly of eye of Glynn Cookson, who had sent the jack out. Referee Terry Ashcroft will now call the greensman on to do a bit of cleaning up. Bit of good luck for somebody out there.
Yes, well, that is it.
Well, he set a mark, so he should play to it. They're asking for the jack to be sent back. They shouldn't do that. They set the mark. Strictly, the jack should stay there. Can I send the jack back, says Wolfwelk. Yes.
And a very brave, brave man has gone out to clean everything up there.
It happens in the best of company.
Well, that is a remarkable appearance.
Never known that before.
I certainly don't think that was a seagull.
Well, something stopped play then, but it wasn't the weather.
No, somebody has done something rather stupid.
It's an egg come over.
It's an egg. Elton, did you get a clear glimpse of what happened there?
Well, we ducked Hugh, an egg came flying over the top and landed on the green, and Stan's just made a funny comment about it, Roy. The players have taken it in very good spirits, even though obviously some brain donor was responsible.
Yeah, Stan was just saying then, I didn't think we were playing that bad.
It's usually tomatoes when they're not playing well, Roy, isn't it?
Well, I would have said this was
Stan Frith on a serious note. It looks like, well, he's got to do something here.
Yes, to be fair, Stan hasn't had any luck at all in the game. He's had no rubs. Everything he's done has gone wrong. But Glynn has played superb, and everything that Stan has put up, Glynn's beaten it. Stan can't do anything at all about it. He's playing superb. But it's right down to the wire now. If Stan doesn't get in here, it's going to be curtains, I feel.
Well, as we go back to Hugh, I think it's fair to say that Glynn didn't lead that one particularly well. Hugh, you've obviously got a better view of that one than we have in the corner where they're bowling from.
Yes, it was a bad lead.
That much short.
But Stan has not improved his chances with his first delivery. I must say the egg incident soured the game very slightly for the spectators, for what is in fact an excellent game.
Well, it's no coincidence that this is the loosest end we've had in the entire game, and we're into the 26th end.
Yes, the concentration of the bowlers was seriously disturbed by that. Oh yes! Well, Stan needed that. He really did need that. And what is, even then when they're, that was, he needed it so badly. The pressure must have been enormous, and yet he delivers a bowl of absolute perfection.
It's the mark of a professional, isn't it?
And what is so apparent through this game is the way both these players, Stan I think more particularly than Glynn, though there's been very little difference in them, of how they've managed to adjust after a poor first delivery. They adjust so quickly and get it right second time in.
Yes, they're great adjusters. I just wonder whether they've got a little too much respect for each other's games, that they're thinking more about their opponent than maybe themselves, where they, not where they would like to go, but where they don't want to take their opponent. And it has swung around a lot, playing off each other's jacks. It's in a good position now, Stan, isn't he, if he wins this end, to go along an edge.
Needs only the tiniest adjustment on his first bowl. Got it again, you see. Superstar.
But he's vulnerable. He's well within striking distance, Hugh.
Yes, our cameraman gets out of the way as Cookie lets one go, makes the contact, and what's left on? A blue bowl is left on the green, I think. Yes. Whoa. Well, that was a fine delivery by Cookie, but it just wound up saving one. That was all. Now, is Stan going to use this edge down below us?
I don't think so, Hugh.
No, he's going on the other one. He's going on the edge along the grandstand. Or at least that's the way he's looking. And in fact, he's going out more towards the player's hut than the edge. It is still an edge mark, though.
It is, but anything above that, as we can see, drops away rather dramatically.
Oh, he left that one on the mat.
An egg. Yeah.
Now Cookson with the slope, assisting the bias.
Yard, Glynn. Per yard.
It's a full yard short. But this is another pressure bowl for Stan, who got it so wrong with his first. He has a massive adjustment to make with his second one. Chances, great chances, beautiful. Once again, the computer in the mind of Stan Frith came up with the right numbers. And it looks like strike again from Cookson. Clean miss. Stan inches his way back again. Scores a single. Just one in it now. 18-19. Stan Frith, one behind, but he's got the block. And Stan with the block, needing 3 to win. That is a daunting prospect for any bowler.
Now then, Frith again just sticking along an edge. Needs a high quality lead. They put the jack where they wanted, but he's got to finally get a lead right on it.
Well, he's going to be short again with that ball. Incredible how Stan is making himself work so hard with just the second bowl every time. Glynn Cookson, plenty of room to get in and get this. Needing just 2 to win and go into the next round. Well, now there it is. That's the one. That is a beauty. But that's been the quality and class of the match throughout. Frith with everything to do. Down and swing, down and swing. Peg now, peg now, peg now, peg now. Yes! What a magnificent ball. How about that one? 2 great champions. Neither giving an inch to the other. Now Cookie's been forced to strike on both the last 2 ends. Is he going to have another bang here?
Can he see it? Is the short bowl in the way? If he does make a connection, where's it going to fly? It's touching. It's touching the Frith bowl.
Well, a moment of decision time for Glynn Cookson. The mind is made up. Here it comes. Can he take the blue bowl out? The weight is too heavy. It's gone through. One more marvellous bowl from Stan Frith. One more chalk on the board. They're level at 19 across. And this was the bowl that did it. Look at that one peg. Look at it gently coast in. Oh, what a beautiful kiss, and stayed there.
He's having a look along his edge. At long last, he's having a look along his edge, Hugh. He's changed his mind.
Where does he go? They have played every portion of this green.
He's going to find somewhere new.
Each of them has tested the other constantly. Throughout the course of this game, one of the longest games we've had in this year's Bass, we've played 29 ends of bowls. We've got 38 chalks on the board, 19 across. It can be one on this end. Somebody's got to get two. Stan started pretty well. That's not a bad lead. Couple of feet off, perhaps. Glynn Cookson. That's flying past. That's flying past. Stan Frith, a tremendous chance now to turn the screw just one more notch. Plant a second bowl in there. Hasn't got the legs. Hasn't got the legs. It's probably counting two, but it's a long way off. Cookson must at least save one here.
Got one.
Cookson, his second bowl, on a better line. What about the weight? What about the weight? Now, has it gone out or not? It's definitely one for Stan. It is only one. Oh, 2019. 30 ends of bowls completed. Stan with the block has the winning of it now. Well, so for that matter, has Glynn Cookson. But Stan needs one, Glynn needs two.
He doesn't know where to go here, does he? Look at it, moving that footer around. They can move it a metre from where the jack stops. He's going back.
Well, Roy Armson, who knows these bowlers perhaps better than anyone, a member of the Cheshire Counties team himself, forecast a tremendous game of bowls, and that has lived up to all expectations. What a pity this isn't 41 up, Brian.
Well, there's
go
not
on
many
watching this for
we
another
could.
hour.
It's an absolute education, Hume, and they've got to grips with the game after that slight interruption earlier. And Stan, if anybody, has come out of that better, you know. Thumb peg. Difficult corner. They can't get past the jack.
Glynn Cookson's not there.
Give up, Glenn.
Stan with one, the one that he wants to win the match.
You're 15-inch, Stan, and that's 3.5 foot.
Well, there you are. There's the mathematics of the situation. 15 inches and 3.5 foot. And it's the blue bowl that is closest. Now, he's dropped that in the road. That's been done deliberately. He's dropped it in the road and said to Glynn Cookson, try and take me out. And Glynn Cookson is now trying to save the match. What's he got? What's he got? He's gone out. He's gone out. He's gone out. Glynn's gone out. Stan's the winner. And that is one of the great games of any Bassmasters competition since the competition started way back in 1982. Glynn is desolate. absolutely downcast. Stan has proved himself the master in this all-Cheshire tournament. Glynn from Winsford, Stan from Weaverham, and it's Stan the man who will come across in a moment or two to talk to Elton and Roy as the winner, 21-19.
Well, I don't think there's been a better game this week, Roy, but I'm just a spectator like everybody else. What about your view as a professional?
That's the game of the week, yes, absolutely the epitome of Bassmasters, and it's what Crown Bowls is all about. Superb game. Yeah.
Well, let's bring in the winner. Stan, would you like to come and join us? And many congratulations as well. The reason we're standing here, that in a sense, it's this little area where the game was won and lost.
Early on it was, yes. We both tended to play, not similar marks, but in the same direction. And it was nip and tuck, obviously. I thought Glynn just led better than me in the middle of the game. But I played some good second bowls, and you know, I managed to win in the end, although it was very close. But it was one of the best games I've ever played in, I think.
Really? You rated that high?
Yes, I do. Not because I've won, but I think even if I'd lost, I can honestly say I didn't do much wrong. You know, even if I have lost.
Well, if it is any consolation, Glynn, it was a smashing game. I know everyone here enjoyed it, and I'm sure all the folks at home did as well.
Thank you. In previous years, Elton, I've come here thinking I've got a bit of a chance, and not played so well against lesser players than Stan. And this year I thought I performed, and with just a little rub here and there, and without any interruption late in the game, I think that may have been...
Well, I was just about... Do you think, did that distract you a little bit, the flying egg?
Well, if you recall the end at... when I led out again, after I'd reset the jack, I played 2 bad bowls. In fact, I never set the jack exactly where I wanted it from the first time, but I suppose these are elements that we've got to get used to.
I think, you know, looking at it the other side, on the other side of it, the point that Roy Thompson made, when you struck and a couple of times you went through, you didn't have too many rubs of the green either.
When
so
I struck down,
maybe that evens that sort of thing out.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, when I struck from the top corner down, I couldn't see my bowl. I could just see half of Glynn's and the jack and the short bowl. You know, but I've just bent round the first bowl and hit my own and left Glynn too. As Glynn said, it's one of those things that you have to contend with in a game of bowls, you know, because I couldn't see it off the footer.
Okay. But well, Fred Hume said it wasn't him that threw the egg, by the way.
Well, it wasn't Fred,
Bobby.
It'd be Bobby then. But I'd like to say now, and I wish Stan all the best now. He's a great friend of mine. Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
And it was played in a super spirit. Great unofficial Cheshire champion. Thanks, Glynn.
Thanks very much.
Marvellous game. 21-20, Stan Frith. We're going to take a break, back with some more bowls here at the Woodland Hotel, Ellesmere Port, in just a few moments' time. Between Stan Frith and Glynn Cookson. Well, we can see now the conclusion of a game played a little bit earlier between Mike Holden and Tommy Hayes for the right to meet Karen Johnston in the next round. Well, there's a measure on at the moment, I believe, as we see the conclusion of the match. It's pretty tight, it's very near the end, and Tommy Hayes is just about in front as we join Roy Thompson and Brian Brett.
Holden, 2.
Oh yes. Oh, now we have a game. Mike Holden was very confident and was walking well away from that measure. He knew in his own mind, maybe Tommy did, a bit of breathing space, but now Holden sends the jack out at 18 against Hayes 19. Long corner mark, Roy.
Yes, just below our commentary position, close on 50 yards. This thumb peg to keep very straight. There's only about 2 foot of bias on the ball here, and he's got quite a good ball here, just about a yard off.
Oh yes, he had a lovely road in. Same line, Hayes. It's a yard in the running. The bowl is now working with the bias beautifully. Excellent delivery. Holden picked the mark and saw Hayes improve on it. Now then, he's inside his first bowl, misses it, has to stop, it can't count. Maybe a good saving bowl, but he's left it open now for Hayes. It's going to be a pretty good shot to count again, Roy.
Yes, there's no danger. Although Mike's bowl is short of the jack, Tommy can play the same bowl again. With a length, he can't knock it in.
He isn't going to be much over. Is he going to arrive? Can it creep and win him the game? Wade in, they shout. Wade in it is. He's got the 2. Certainly 1. Mike Holden kidding them there. He's got the 1. Just the single. Could so easily have been 2. And it could easily have been curtains. But it's still there, 18-20. Off the mat, 20-18.
And Tommy very wisely taking his time, taking great care where he's set this jack. He's going thumb peg right over the centre of the green towards the stand, finishing in a lush part of the green. 38 yards thumb peg.
Not easy. He hasn't followed the line of the jack at all. He's cut it under, it's narrowed and pegged away. It's got to be much, much wider than that. Something like that. And with the right length, he's not going to be far away. Just stuck out a bit then. Now it will peg. Length bowl counts. Hayes needing 1 for game. He's wider. Gone much, much wider than his first bowl. It's hanging out. Can't get there. Just did not perform. Now then, Holden. What a chance for 2. He's certainly holding 1. Can it get up there? It's got to run. It's got to run. Oof. I don't think so. He had a beautiful road in, but the length.
Take that one out.
Certainly take that one out. They agree on 1. Certainly 1 to Holden. A long, long look at this. Is it going to be another measuring job? Nope. He's accepted 1.
Hold it. 1.
What a chance for 2. But the effect of all that, 19-20 off the mat. Been a good game, Roy.
It has, hasn't it, you know, and Mike's gone much shorter now, down into the corner, thumb peg. It's only about 27 yards. He's hoping for a downhill finish here.
Yes. Run on. Good bowl. Tommy Hayes now with his first bowl. 2019, his advantage. He's slightly off the road.
Big pressure on Tommy now, Hugh.
Right. This looks a useful bowl if it can stop. It's got to stop. Just brush the jack. Now, how many is it? That looks like 2. Holden needs 2 for game. Hayes needs 1. Is he waiting for the referee to have a look? Does he know the score? A long, long look at it. Playing up. He's trying to beat it. It's going to need absolute precision this time. It's bending. He might just nudge that one. Now that's certainly 1. Is it 2? Has it saved? Certainly 1 to Holden. Concerned. He looks fairly happy. They've agreed on something, but he's not telling. It's a handshake. He's done it. Holden. What a remarkable comeback. Trailed in the early stages, came back strongly. Mike Holden, 21. Tommy Hayes, 20.
Well, another absolutely terrific finish. Mike Holden it is who meets Karen Johnston in the next round. Well, if you're with us right at the very start of the programme, you'll know that I posed a little teaser. We showed you a rugby league try and said what's the connection between the Bassmasters and the try scorer. Now, the try scorer was John Bentley of Leeds and Great Britain. And the connection between John and the Bassmasters, his father Richard was in action here a little earlier on today, and he was in very good nick indeed against Ken Armitage. Roy Armson and Hugh Johns are the commentators, and Richard is well in front.
Yorkshire County bowler, of course, is Richard Bentley. Comes from Liversedge in West Yorkshire. Ken Armitage, the man from Warrington. You're short, Ken.
The impressive thing, Hugh, about Richard Bentley is that he's played a good length everywhere he's gone. He's hit a length straight away, and when you do that, they're very, very difficult to shake off, and he's got two in here, his line game.
Armitage then. Can he stay alive? Well, he saved one.
Bentley, 1.
And that scoreboard tells the picture. It's all uphill for Ken Armitage and Richard Bentley, the man who will feel most of his job has been completed. One more end, and he's into the second round. Well, that's a length of Jack mark that has provided him with a considerable number of chalks in this last 20 minutes or so. Good lead. Line looks good. Too heavy though. Goes out at the back. Again, a lovely line, lovely length. This has been a very, very impressive first appearance at the Woodlands and the Bassmasters for Richard Bentley. And Armitage has got to have a bang at it. Missed everything. That's the end of the game. A little pause then, and a lot of applause for Richard Bentley, who has taken care of Ken Armitage in no mean fashion. Takes him out 21-12.
And that's the first round complete, which means Joyce Foxcroft will play Mark Britton in the second round. Brian Duncan against Norman Fletcher. That's our big one tomorrow afternoon, live. Moving on, Bob Hitchin against Alan Thompson. The Yorkshire boys, Simon Coupe against Alan Broadhurst. They meet in the second round. Martin Bacon against David Copeland. Tommy Johnston against Noel Burrows. What a match that's going to be, no mistake. Karen Johnston against Mike Holden. And of course, if she wins and Tommy wins, then it's Mr. and Mrs. in the quarterfinals. Richard Bentley, father of John, the rugby league player, will play Stan Frith, who beat Glynn Cookson in that truly remarkable game. Roy, I actually think, looking back over the 10 years, it's probably the best first round we've ever had.
I agree with you. Yeah, there's been some really tremendous bowling, high technical content and excitement all the way around.
Match of the day?
Match of the day.
Match of the round?
Match of the round, undoubtedly, Cookson and Frith. Absolutely super entertainment there.
Technically, it was a joy to watch.
Yes, and you could tell because the ovation they got at the end of the game, I mean, it went on for minutes.
Fletcher Duncan tomorrow briefly?
That'll be a humdinger, won't it? Yes, I don't know who's going to win that game.
Burrows Johnston tomorrow?
Again, yes, my tip could be Topple tomorrow. Yes, you never know. But that one, that's class all through again. Yeah.
Tell you what, it's something to look forward to, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
And well, finally, the character of the day.
Undoubtedly, Mr. Fred Hume from Stockport.
It's sad in the sense that he's gone out because he provided us with a lot of laughs and a lot of entertainment.
Again, the punters were delighted with him, and Fred's made a lot of new friends here at Ellesmere Port.
Well, all in all, it's been a fabulous first round, a great 2 days here at Ellesmere Port. We leave you today with the fun and games man, Mr. Fred Hume. See you tomorrow afternoon. Bye-bye.
Don't let him fool you. He's a good bowler, this man.
Freddie tried to stop it with the duster.